The stars are out today as the divisional playoffs continue right here on Fox. The Never Say Die Niners survived a wild card weekend.
Game is over! Game is over! 49ers win!
San Fran stars have been Jeff Garcia and Terrell Owens all season, and they've continued to shine in the playoffs.
Breaking away is Owens! Down to the 10-5! Touchdown 49ers!
Today, the Niners head to the Pirates ship to battle Tampa in the NFC Divisional playoffs. Brad Johnson's back in control of the Bucs, but it's their #1 defense that's been the star of the show.
Let's go! Knock it! Yeah, let's go! Come on!
Two of the league's brightest stars go head-to-head in the AFC when the Raiders host the Jets. Oakland has a trio of stars, and the brightest has been league MVP Rich Gannon. But the Jets have a rising star of their own. Chad Pennington has been playing out of this world. The divisional playoffs begin next, right here on Fox. Welcome to the Porsche Cayenne pregame show, brought to you by Porsche Cayenne. Pure Porsche in a most unexpected form.
Well, when it comes to defining a career, many times it's how you play in the big games. That's what Terry Bradshaw says. Well, Terrell Owens is starting to make a name for himself, already part of Niner lore for his game-winning touchdown against the Packers in the '98 playoff game. Last week, T.O. responded with 9 catches for 177 yards and 2 touches. For Bucs quarterback Brad Johnson, it's how good does he feel and how well will he play? After missing the last 2 regular season games with a back injury, Johnson is back. It's the NFC West champion, San Francisco 49ers, against the NFC South champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The winner faces the Eagles in the NFC Championship game next Sunday. And hello, everyone. I'm James Brown, and welcome to day 2 of the divisional playoffs right here on Fox. Now, these guys say their names are synonymous with playoff action. Rain Man had a rough day yesterday.
Rain Man said that we were synonymous with playoff action. We did not say that. Rain Man said McNabb would be rusty. He would fade in the 3rd and the 4th quarter. He said Pinkston had turf toe, had 4 or 5 catches in the last. Thrash would not be a factor.
And we corrected him, though.
Absolutely.
Did I not set him up or what, folks?
We'll give him a chance to respond today, folks.
Wile E.
2 games down, 2 to go. Yesterday in Nashville, the divisional playoffs began with a former divisional rival battle between the Steelers and the Titans. TB, Steve McNair, chip on his shoulder.
I didn't get in the Pro Bowl. Show him how to get it done, Steve. There it is. Little touchdown jump right up there. 8-yarder. 7-0. Titans. Back comes Tommy Maddox. Comeback player of the year. Hines Ward. Break 1 tackle. Drag a few in there, young. And there you go. Touchdown. We're tied at 28 all. And then 31-31 OT. Joe Nedney. The reason Jimmy Johnson cut him. He misses key field goals. Then he goes down right there, and there's the old Dwayne Washington roughing the kicker. We're going to give you another shot, young. There it is. Down the middle. 34-31. Titans take care of my Steelers. Bill Cowher is furious.
I saw a kicker who had kicked the ball, had taken a couple of steps, and Dwayne, sliding on the ground, fell into him. For a game to be decided on that call is ludicrous. And for me to have to explain to an official of what's reviewable and what's not, that's wrong. Fine me if you want. That's the truth.
Coach, you come out here today and you said that the Steelers bring out the best in you, and I think they did today.
Well, we obviously brought the best out in them as well. They had a great season, and they played very, very well today. They were banged up. They were tired after that great win last week, and they gave us just about all we could handle. This one could have gone either way. That's how these games are.
So the Budweiser playoff picture looks like this. It'll be the Tennessee Titans facing the winner of today's huge battle between Oakland and the New York Jets. If the Raiders win, the game will be in Oakland next Sunday night. A Jets victory means the championship game will be in Nashville. Meanwhile, in Philly, Rain Man was wrong about Donovan McNabb.
Rain Man was right. He's back. Donovan McNabb watching his buddy Michael Vick throw this ball intended for Sean Jefferson. Bobby Taylor steps in front 39 yards later. Touchdown. Eagles off and running 7-0. 4th and 1. Out of the pocket. Like I said on the pregame show, he would. McNabb to James Thrash, 35-yard touchdown, and an Eagles victory.
Went through the big disappointment last year in the NFC Championship game against the Rams down there in St. Louis. What is the biggest difference this year outside of the home field advantage?
Well, I was going to say the 700 level. That's the biggest difference. You know, yeah, and we'll see. We're at home, and that's got to be a plus for you. And our guys will come out and they'll battle. We got to go back to the drawing board and prepare. And we don't know exactly who we're preparing for right now, but you know, just one game at a time.
So the Budweiser playoff picture shows that the NFC East champion Eagles get one more game at the Vet. Keep in mind, the Eagles going to the NFC Championship game knowing they have beaten both of their possible opponents, the Niners and Bucs, earlier this season. And that leads us to today's game between San Francisco and Tampa Bay. And you know what? When you get right down to it, it's pretty simple. Terry says the winner moves on, the loser goes home. Profound, profound indeed. Calling the game are Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, and Chris Collinsworth. Fellas, don't be like Rain Man. Take it away, Joe.
All right, JB, you guys are on a roll. Look at that. Crystal clear, blue skies, 52 degrees, a little chilly. It's chilly. I'm Joe. This is Troy. And that right there is Chris. And Chris, I'll start with you. All right. And I'll ask you about the 49ers. Everybody wants to talk about what happened last week. You're the 49ers trying to get ready for this week. It's got to be a little difficult because all anybody else wants to do is look back.
Yeah, and I think emotionally it is going to be tough. First of all, you have to come down from that big game, and then you have to try and get yourself jacked back up against, oh, by the way, the #1 defense in all of football. But like everybody else, I'm going to look back just a little bit. I know there's so many superstars that have played for the 49ers over the years, but who has ever done anything better than what Jeff Garcia and Terrell Owens did in that game a week ago? It was just simply phenomenal. But today, against the #1 ranked defense, their task is going to be a little bit tougher because of a banged-up offensive line. Left ankle sprains for all these guys. Derek Deese, Jeremy Newberry, Ron Stone. Derek Deese is probably the worst of all of those, and he's going to have to try and battle Simeon Rice today, and it's not going to be easy with that bad ankle.
Troy, I think it was you that said, forget about Montana and Young. It's all Garcia. Look at what he's done, right? Forget about that. Kerry Collins, we kept talking about him. Nobody was giving him any credit. Well, let's go a little step further and say at least he played in New York. Brad Johnson down here in Tampa's had a great year, and absolutely nobody's paying attention to him.
It's pretty hard to believe because really without Brad Johnson, this team wouldn't be where they're at. And as good as he's been this season, he's been even better at home. He's been outstanding. He's going to need another big game here today. And you mentioned he's missed the last 2 ball games, and that has really been to his advantage. He feels like his arm is much stronger. He's got his legs underneath him, feels fresh going into this game. And he also knows, Joe, that in order to get the recognition and the respect that he deserves, that he's going to have to be able to win a championship, and that all starts here today.
Well, we'll see what happens. Brad Johnson is all well and fine. He's great. He's had a great season. Peace be with him on this Sunday. However, when you think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you think about their defense and their defensive coordinator, Monty Kiffin, who's standing by before this big game with our own Pam Oliver.
Okay, thanks a lot, Joe. Monty, the mobile quarterback, it's something your defense has mastered. You got another one today. What's the difference with Jeff Garcia?
Well, I tell you what, he's great presence in the pocket. He steps up. He sees second, third receiver. We got to step. We got to get our lanes. We got to come off the ball. We got to know where he's at and watch him stepping up.
Lessons learned from watching that offense, the 49ers offense, come back on the New York Giants to the tune of 24 points.
Better not let down. I tell you what, now the game, when Garcia's there and Terrell Owens, this game's not over till the horn goes off.
How are your boys? How's just the mindset of that group right now?
We're ready to go. It's going to be a heck of a game. Great atmosphere. Let's go.
All right, Monty, thanks a lot for your time. Let's go back up to Joe.
All right, Pam, thanks. The 3 of us are all buttoned up, pulled up, ready to go for this game between the 49ers and the Bucs. Let's go back to the studio. JB and company, it's all yours.
All right, Joe Buck, pulled up is probably all I can say about the group right here. Pam talked about the Niners' miracle comeback last week. They walked the plank against the best defense in the league.
Ooh.
Jimmy, the prescription. Oh, hey,
you were up all night thinking of that line.
Look at him. Go ahead.
You know, I was interested to hear Troy talk about Brad Johnson, and he really has been pretty good this year. Had a great year this year, but overall his career passer rating is pretty good in the league. I think 7th or so in the career passing rate. Not bad, you know, but when you look at him in the playoffs, he's been terrible. You know, the 2nd worst in the entire playoffs of any active quarterback. And this is where John Gruden earns his money. And, Terry, a lot of money. Wow. He earns his money today because of Brad Johnson.
He ain't got a prayer, does he?
He's going to be going up against the worst defense in the playoffs, and Brad Johnson dominates this game with his passing.
Well, I tell you, on the other side of things, Jeff Garcia is obviously the key, and Terrell Owens the key. Terrell Owens will make his catches. You have to tackle him when he does. Missed tackles are the big key against this big son of a gun. Jeff Garcia is very mobile. He's a better quarterback when he's on the run. He goes through his progressions. He's tough on defensive lines. This is the best defensive line in football when healthy at corralling up a quick quarterback. They've had Vic. They've had McNabb. They've shut most of the time McNabb down, and they've shut Vic totally down. This defensive line is the best group they've seen all year.
You're right, Howie. This will be a tough challenge for Jeff Garcia. But one thing I've admired about Montana and Young, who have run this offense in San Francisco so well, is their ability under pressure to go to the 4th guy. And last week you saw Garcia time and time again get first downs, not only with his running, but with his ability to know this offense so well and go to the 4th guy, first down. 4th guy, first down. Truly remarkable. He won't have time to go to a 4th guy in this game.
Okay,
3rd guy.
Jillian Barberie has some FBI protection with her, and we'll also have Jimmy's picks. And, folks, we've got a star-studded show starting with a big star of the Miami Dolphins, Ricky Williams. You're welcome. Ricky will tell us why this season was clearly his best. And from the NFL's leading rusher to the NFL's best defense, Howie Long raps with the Buccaneers, who know it's time to put up or shut up. And finally, we'll look back at what that wild, wacky, weird playoff game between the Giants and Niners. For San Francisco, it was wonderful.
Really great game. It was, you know, it was a tale of 2 different halves. Not halves, but 3 quarters, and the 4th quarter was certainly ours. But it was one of those really unbelievable finishes.
Brought to you by HP. HP technology, services, and people help make more things more possible. By Rolling Rock Beer, grab a rock. By T. Rowe Price, invest with confidence. And by Porsche, discover what only Porsche brings to driving.
Hey, folks, as we welcome you back to Fox NFL Sunday, Terry Bradshaw is thrilled with the news that Jillian Barberie will be coming with us to the NFC Championship game and a part of our primetime special. But bad for you, she's got FBI protection.
She'll need it.
Well, in Terry's case, that's called female body inspector. This is the different kind of FBI. But this is the first time I'll be on the road with you guys. It'll be very exciting.
TB?
What are you bumping me under the table for?
You're the only single guy out there.
Plus, I ride in mule cargo. I know, it's all normal. All right, big NFC Championship today. We've got, well, Joe Buck said earlier, Chile. I think he said Chile in Florida. And it is because there's cold Canadian air being ushered down from the north. And this is, Terry, I'm the warm Canadian as opposed to the cold Canadian. Caught you guys talking, caught you. Big storm system moving through. I think it's not going to affect the game, at least until maybe the 4th quarter, but mostly cloudy and cool today in Tampa Bay. 59 degrees for the Giants. The 49ers. The 49ers. That's the second time.
Someone's nervous.
No, somebody's thinking about baseball. I don't know why. Here's that low pressure over the Pacific Northwest, and it's a big one. Do you know that since last July, the Bay Area has received 15 inches of rain, you guys? So another stormy, cloudy, and wet day for the Jets versus the Raiders in Oakland. That's the Jets versus the Raiders. 60 degrees, game time. Humidity will be 94% as that storm moves on shore. And I wanted to mention again for the game on the East Coast, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think the rain will come in at the latter part of the 4th quarter.
I rarely correct the weather, but one small correction.
Oh,
this is not your first road trip with us. You were at the Super Bowl with us.
Right.
Oh, that little thing.
No, Howie. She wasn't with us. She was with the big people.
Oh.
She wasn't with us.
The big
people.
They debate where Jillian was last year. Last Sunday, Jimmy Kimmel won with the 49ers. Yesterday, he won with the Eagles, and now he is a remarkable 12-2 the past 3 weeks. It's been a snap for him lately, but not so for the New York Giants. Jimmy.
Thanks, JB. Yep, I hit it again last week, 12 out of 14, but
I can't in good conscience take credit for predicting the Giants' collapse. And Giant fans were understandably upset. How could it happen like that? Why did it happen like that? Well, I'll tell you why. It happened because of this man. Come in here, you. My producer, Jim Brusca. Tell him why the Giants fell apart on Sunday.
I bragged.
Speak up.
I called at halftime, and I bragged about the score.
That's right. It's halftime. The Giants are up 28-14. My phone rings, and it's this guy screaming and yelling, "Shockey this and Toomer that." And how this is what I get for picking against the Giants. It's what you deserve. And I sat there, I listened to his whole tirade, and when I hung up the phone, I knew instantly that the Giants were not going to win. You cursed your own team. That's right. You should be ashamed of yourself. Now, sit quiet while I give my pick. Today, I'm going to take the Bucks to knock off the Niners, and my upset special, the Jets run over the Raiders. Let me recap. The Bucks and the Jets. Everybody has one of these guys in their life, right? A big mouth, a premature jubilator. I want you to read this statement to your fellow Giant fans. I've written it.
I am sorry I opened my big mouth before the game was over. I let you all down. It will never happen again.
Very good. Now read this one, too.
P.S. I am a stupid idiot.
Thanks for nothing. I don't blame him.
Sorry.
I'd be angry, too. I'm Jimmy Kimmel.
I'm probably 1,000 points. Ridiculous.
Thanks for nothing.
You don't learn.
Hey, you know who wrote the script for this?
I know who wrote it, but they should have called me in for a little bit of that.
Brusca and Howie, good friends indeed. All right,
jolly
folks.
stomping, my boy.
Time now to recap our favorite game, the Porsche Performance Report. This will play to Howie as well. Unlike the NFL, Howie Long won this thing going away, folks. It wasn't even close.
Wait, I was
check out this thing. Were you close, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Well, check out the standings. Keep in mind that next week, Big Boy will be receiving a new Porsche Cayenne.
Don't forget about the taxes you
which
got to
he'll
pay on that
donate
bad
to
boy.
charity. And that charity is, Howie?
Piedmont Casa, court-appointed special advocates.
Well deserving indeed. Howie, take a look at this new Porsche Cayenne you'll be presented with next week. Jillian doesn't come with it. It's certainly a beautiful looking SUV. Up next, Jillian again. Yep. We'll preview the AFC playoff game between the Jets and Raiders, and then our guys will break down all you need to know about the Niners and Bucks. Jillian will not drive away, but guess what? We will be right back. This Saturday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, join us for a special primetime NFC Championship pregame show. We will reveal the top 3 claymation promo spots that you can vote for right now on FoxSports.com. And get this, TB, we'll be at a brand new theater in Philadelphia called the Kimmel Center. For the performing arts, that is. Our own Jimmy Kimmel will be there. So will Jillian Barbery, Cedric the Entertainer, Ja Rule, Ashanti, and some special guests as well. Folks, we are definitely hoping that you can join us also. And welcome back to Fox NFL Sunday. Later today, the high-flying New York Jets battle Howie's Raiders. And dating back to the Heidi game, these two teams have plenty of history. Oakland, you recall, knocked out the Jets in last year's playoffs, and they beat them again last month on a Monday night. But Chad Pennington and the Jets have reached a new plane. No one is playing better football right now. Jeannie Zelasco is in Oakland with more. And hello, Jeannie.
Hello, JB. Yes, this could be the start of something beautiful. Same Jets, though, that stumbled into the postseason, destroyed the Colts, and their legend grew. Next stop, Oakland, where the top seed has plans for its own happily ever after.
The most lopsided playoff win in Jets history.
Everybody wants to see the Cinderella team, and you know, we're the home team, and you know, we're the team who has home field advantage.
There's a reason why we got a week off, you know, because we played well. Yeah, you get a team who has played a couple good football games, and all of a sudden, you know, they think they're the best, you know, team to ever, you know, play in the NFL.
We have to concentrate on the Jets, and we have to realize that the Colts victory does nothing for us as far as trying to prepare for the Raiders or giving us momentum.
There's two things that happen. You win or lose.
We won the game. I'm not smart enough to figure out if it was an impressive win, if it was a lucky win, if it almost won.
And not all are impressed with the handsome young prince, the Jets quarterback, that is.
The next Joe Montana.
All right, it may be a little too early to tell, but Chad Pennington has turned heads with 15 touchdown passes in the past 5 games. His last interception came on an early December night. The result, a victory for the self-proclaimed dark side.
I guess I heard that they didn't really lose, they just ran out of time.
Everyone can look at this game as redemption, but more importantly, this is the move on to the AFC Championship.
Hey, it doesn't matter about, talking about the AFC Championship game and Super Bowl. So all we're talking about this week is the Jets, and come back next week and we'll talk about the rest of it.
All right, fair enough. But let's talk about Charles Woodson, who says he's recovering quicker than expected from surgery on Christmas Eve. Doctors put a plate in his fractured right leg to give him more stability. Now, he will play, but whether or not he'll start, that will be a game-time decision. He will be needed out there, considering that Jets offense has some speedy receivers, a trio of them, and they are red hot. Here's another color for you, as in Brown, Tim Brown and his teammate Jerry Rice. Despite all the visits here the Jets have paid to Oakland, they have yet to slow down both receivers in the same game, JB.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. And again, good seeing you again. There's a lot to talk about for both teams, but none more so than to steal Howie's line. Bill Romanowski, a Raider for life from the beginning.
From birth. I mean, all of his other stops were just obligatory stops. He ended up where he needed to end up. Familiarity with these two football teams obviously breeds contempt. Special teams players are talking smack this week. I mean, it's remarkable. The defensive line, Josh Evans, is saying Frank Middleton and the offensive line from the Raiders are some of the cheapest players in football. And I agree. James and Woodson at corner both have plates in their ankle. It'll be interesting to see how far they can go. And Shane Leckler, they're going to try to directional punt versus Santana Moss, punt the ball out of bounds, and obviously Sebastian Janikowski with that big leg trying to avoid kickoff returns, because the return game for the Jets is such a big part of their offense.
Well, being a Raider from birth, that's not exactly a compliment, is it, Howie? Huh?
And you would be what?
Yeah, I wouldn't be any Raider. I could never, ever pull for the Raiders. Nobody with a name Howie could play for the Raiders either. Well, I've got to go. I think, the Rain Man had a rough day yesterday. But I'm telling you right now, this is where the Jets step up. And it's no fluke that they shut down Brady, they shut down Manning, they shut down somebody else who I can't think of. But they've played well defensively. Yeah, they got to go across the country. But, folks, listen to me good. Telling you right now, they can run the football, the Jets, and they will shut down those crossing routes. And I'm telling you, the Jets will take care of the Raiders today. And I'm not a Raider from birth.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Well, Terry took all my time.
No, I didn't.
Hey, listening to Romo on that piece, I don't think he's impressed with Chad Pennington. I'm impressed with Chad Pennington, the #1 rated passer in the entire NFL. But he does it because of the running game. The running game with Curtis Martin, and then they do all kinds of misdirection, bootlegs, on and on. He's a great decision maker, but if Oakland stops the run, which they will do, it's a drop-back passing game, and Oakland's rush, that'll get to him.
You need to get off the pipe.
I'm not on the pipe. That other quarterback's Brett Favre. Raider from birth. That's some big thing.
That was the hot water pipe in his hotel room he was talking about. Up next, we'll check out the San Francisco 49ers. Last week, they overcame a 24-point deficit against the Giants, as we all know. And two of the biggest reasons why, Jeff Garcia and Terrell Owens. Both players were simply outstanding.
Jeff Garcia just threw the perfect pass.
Jeff Garcia was absolutely tremendous.
Jeff throws for the end zone. Caught! Touchdown 49ers!
Well, with last week's incredible comeback victory over the New York Giants, quarterback Jeff Garcia etched his name in the 49er Book of Legends alongside guys like Montana and Young. It was the second greatest comeback in playoff history, an amazing game that left everyone feeling dizzy.
And then Momentum was wearing a red jersey.
Sorry, Coach Mariucci, but in last week's game, Momentum was truly colorblind.
What would I give for just a few moments?
And then they was getting a couple of big plays on us. And, you know, it was looking kind of bleak in the beginning, but, you know, we rallied in the second half.
In the third quarter, even though the Giants had to settle for a field goal when Jeremy Shockey dropped his surefire touchdown, their lead was now 24.
And it's 38-14, and you start doing the math. All right, how many touchdowns and how many two-point conversions, and then how many possessions are we going to get?
Using the hurry-up offense, the Niners came back to life. And with this Terrell Owens touchdown and two-point conversion, San Francisco was back in business.
I'm not going to repeat what he said, but, you know, he just said, look at the scoreboard. He's like, you guys only have 20 points. You know, just went off to the sideline because, like I said, I felt the momentum swing.
We eventually, I believe, wore down the New York Giant defense and got them to a point of being very tired on the field.
Garcia fires. Touchdown 49ers. They come all the way back. It's straight.
I really believed at that point there was too much time left on the clock.
There was, and as the Giants moved the ball downfield, all eyes turned to the field goal unit, especially Trey Junkin, the long snapper. Junkin had come out of retirement to join the team earlier in the week, and on his previous field goal attempt, his snap was off. And now the game was on the line. After the bad snap, instead of calling timeout, Matt Allen threw the ball. And then penalty flags signaled that ineligible Giants offensive lineman had gone downfield to try and catch the desperation pass. However, before the snap, lineman Rich Seubert had reported into the officials and was thus eligible to go downfield on the play.
It was the guy that spotted the ball and the guy behind us. That's all I remember. But I'm raising my hand until they always go like, okay, 69 is an eligible receiver, and they point to their chest.
So if the officials had called pass interference against the Niners on Seubert, the Giants would have had another chance to kick a field goal. Instead, game over. Niners win.
Right when it happened, you know, I'm doing the receiver thing. I'm pointing to the guy, you know, saying, hey, he pulled me down, pass interference, pass interference. But the refs weren't buying it, or they weren't listening, and they made their calls and got off the field, so there wasn't really anything we could do.
But if that official didn't know Seubert was eligible, then he had to be totally asleep.
On Monday, the NFL admitted pass interference should have been called, so a great game officially ended on a sour note.
I think if there's one lesson to be learned is that you can't ever believe that something is in the bag, because it can be taken away from you in a heartbeat.
All right, let me turn to the Hall of Famer. Do you point a finger at the officials? Oh, ooh, wow.
That's right. There's two of us up
Blonde
there.
Bomber.
Yes, baby.
Do you point a finger at the officials? Bomber. Or do you say, hey, we didn't get the job done?
You didn't get, the Giants didn't get the job done. Sure, you can point to that last play, and that's fine and it's justified, but the fact that 24 points, you got a lead at 24 points, and you let that team come back, you know, it's shame on you. An emotional win, absolutely. But Garcia, incredible. He is now there with Young in Montana. All he's got to do is win a Super Bowl. This guy can flat get it done. Steve Mariucci, he stamped that football team, and for Walsh and Donahue and these guys, well, we will give you a vote of confidence, is absurd. He earned that right to be their coach, and they should pay him.
Yeah, Mariucci's doing a great job, and really, I look at these two offensive teams today. You know, there's a lot of good players. Garcia is an outstanding player. You know, we talk about legends. Chris talked about superstars, on and on. And, you know, and you look at the other side, Keyshawn Johnson, Brad Johnson. There's only one superstar, and that's Terrell Owens. Unfortunately, this game is a game of matchups. Terrell Owens is going against one of the best defensive teams that's played this game in recent history. Keyshawn Johnson and McCardle, they're going against one of the worst defensive teams in all the playoffs. Advantage Tampa.
Well, two things. Tampa Bay's defense knows that what defines championship football teams is their defense, and if you're going to be remembered, you're defined by winning championships. And for Terrell Owens, this football team, the San Francisco 49ers, were waiting for him, as great as he is, to do what he did last week at halftime. Step up and be the team leader. Challenge that football team to raise the level of their play and mount a comeback of 24 points.
Reiterate succinctly the rule changes in effect this weekend now, Jimmy.
Well, the side judge and the head linesman will be repositioned to better see, you know, all the players on a botched field goal or a fake field goal. And then at the end of the game on a critical play, they're going to have all the officials, come together if there's a penalty, and not just the referee and the official that threw the flag. All of them come together and talk about it to make sure they get it right.
So when they kick the field goal, they now open their eyes. Is that correct?
Still ahead, the NFL's leading rusher this season, Ricky Williams, joins us on the Fox field. Soon you'll find out the secret to his success. And then big boy Howie Long raps with the Buccaneers. And Tampa Bay knows they've done nothing in the playoffs, and this might be absolutely their best shot at being super.
This is where we want to be. You work hard to get in these situations every year, and it's a matter of making the most of these opportunities.
Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp spearheaded the top-ranked defense in the league. Brooks recently named Defensive Player of the Year, and he scored more touchdowns this season than any other defensive player. Meanwhile, both of those guys are candidates for Howie's Tough Guys team on Super Bowl Sunday. Make sure you tune in to Fox as Big Boy reveals his players. That'll be coming your way at 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 Pacific. As we welcome you back to Fox NFL Sunday here on our football field, most appropriately, we welcome the Pro Bowl running back from Miami, Ricky Williams.
Yeah.
All right. A nice sampling of why Ricky Williams was the NFL's leading rusher this past season. Ricky, welcome. JT?
Yeah, what?
JT Johnson.
Hold on, let me jump in here. Ricky, that last carry for 8 yards, how much money?
6 yards.
6 yards, how much money did you make?
Over the next couple of years, like $10 million.
See there, boys? Young boys and girls, there's a lot of money to be made for 6 yards.
He's got a good agent out there, David Cornwell. That's right.
230 pounds and run a 4.4. You too can make $10 million.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Ricky, the knock on you in New Orleans was that you didn't make long runs. And I visited with your coaching staff this week with the Dolphins. They said, hey, you changed your style on my boat, and said you changed your style. You got more quickness, you've lost 20 pounds, and you're avoiding people, and you're making the long runs. What happened as far as your running style?
Well, the biggest thing is confidence. When I saw that I could make people miss and break the long runs, I started to look for it more. At first, I tried to have confidence from the very beginning, but I learned that you can build confidence by getting 4 yards, then you get open field and you work on some stuff and you see what you're good at.
Let's talk a little bit about what you do and what you see. Let's say you're running a counter and I'm the backside linebacker.
A big linebacker.
Away from the counter, and I'm flowing to the play. And you've got a hole there. They've gotten the kick out, they've gotten the block down, and there's an alley there to run in, and you and I are coming to a collision here. You're counting on what?
See, I'm kind of to overrun, and then I make that cut.
Oh!
So you're counting on me overcompensating for your speed.
Exactly.
Now, one of the differences they talk about between New Orleans and Miami with you is, in New Orleans, it seemed like you were looking for contact.
Right.
In Miami, it looks like your confidence level and your ability to run away from people has increased a great deal.
That's one part. The second part is that I realized the less I get hit, the healthier I'm gonna be.
You know what? That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Hey, one of the things that I noticed this year, in the playoffs, Ricky, we don't have a top 10 running back in the league. In 2 games, your 2 best games this year, almost 400 yards in rushing in those 2 games. You lost both of those games. That's kind of unheard of. It used to be you run and control the clock, you win football games. That doesn't happen anymore.
Well, there's a lot of things it takes to win a football game. Running the ball is important, playing defense is important. But there's situations in a game where you have to make plays. And with a running team, sometimes they're going to put 8 guys in the box and they're going to make you pass the ball. And the teams that can complete those passes, like the Cowboys did, it was Mike Orvin and Troy Aikman to give Emmett some room to run. That's how you win.
Ricky, you've got to tell this story now. Against Chicago on Monday night, and here New Orleans said you don't make long runs, and you had the long run I read where you were thinking, as you're running down the field, about New Orleans. What do you think now? Well, is that true?
Like I said, there was a lot of criticism about me breaking long runs, and the fact that I was able to do it on national television, it felt really good.
And this happened because of losing the weight and adding the quickness, or just a mental thing?
It's a little bit of both. I think the weight helped, so I was at least healthy enough to make those.
So, JB, we will be quicker and faster and smarter
and have some
if
blood
we drop about
real quickly.
Well,
if you saw Terry Bradshaw coming up at you, would you run him over or would you try to get away from him?
Well, you know, the thing, when you have big-name guys up there, you want to run them over and make a name.
There you go. That's what we wanted to hear, loud and clear.
Big-name guy.
That's right. Thank you very much, buddy, as we swing it over to Big Boy here.
Well, I went down to Tampa Bay. This is a football team that, for the last 4 years, the only team in the NFL to be in the playoffs. But many inside of Tampa Bay and outside of Tampa Bay feel it's put up or shut up time. Have you addressed the prior history here in the playoffs, in particular the last 2 years with the team?
Nah, you know, we have been accused of not winning games when it's below 40 degrees. We
got that out of the way.
Got that out of the way.
Got the 12 wins?
Yeah, we got 12 wins. We won 6 games on the road. We won a road game in October.
Right.
Jiminy Christmas. You know, let's talk about some of the positive things.
We've gone the last 3 playoff games and haven't scored a touchdown. We understand all that.
Mm-hmm.
We understand that, you know, we've been whooped the last 2 times we went to Philly.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it.
We look at those games, and it really, you have to sit the whole offseason and have those just sit in your belly.
Brad Johnson, wide open, Ricky Dudley.
You got within a couple of minutes up in Minnesota. You have a kind of a sense of just how difficult it is.
You're always so close and you're so far away. And we've been very, very focused from the beginning of the season to get the bye, to get some kind of home field advantage, and feel like we're about as sharp as we can be right now.
You were here when they were winning how many games?
4, 6. You know, we've gotten to a point, and it was great now, just, you know, for a while get to the playoffs. But we've moved to that next step where we've got to win a championship.
How long can we hold these 11, 12, 15 guys together and play defense like this for this amount of years and have nothing to show for it?
When I came here early in the year, you talked about the whole team being held accountable.
We feel like we're not the only one pulling the tug, you know? Like we were the only tugboat pulling this big old freighter through this ocean. But now we got 3 equal tugboats pulling, and it's a lot easier to get this ship rolling that way.
At a certain point, that did become problematic in the past, is that, you know, the team was almost run 2 different ways in terms of the expectations on offense and defense, and that's not a problem anymore.
Well, I think that's the way it should be. You know, it's a team game. Sometimes the offense gets some of the credit. Sometimes the defense gets too much of the credit. Bottom line is we're going to get what we deserve. You know, we miss a snap. We don't put the ball down on the tee. You might not kick the game-winning field goal.
This team has knocked on the door 3 years now in a row, now the 4th year. Is it put up or shut up time for this group?
Well, I would say so. We've got an opportunity to do something about that and put up, basically.
I think so. But that being said, what does that mean?
2 games away, right now.
But you can't look at it like that because you don't play double hitters.
It's a live performance. There are no cuts. You know, you get 1 chance, you know, 3rd and 1, 1st and goal, whatever it may be. You have to be at your very best.
There you draw the parallel of 2 teams that to me are on a collision course, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 3 years ago, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played the St. Louis Rams and lost in the NFC Championship game. They have regressed from that point in the last 2 years in the playoffs, where the Philadelphia Eagles have progressed. Each year, they're taking another step. Last year, culminating in the NFC Championship game, falling 1 game short. The logical step for them is the Super Bowl.
Howie, on paper, you know, it looks like the Bucs should dominate this game because, you know, the Bucs have so much quickness on defense. They take away everything that San Francisco wants to do because San Francisco makes the plays, Garcia, moving around, quickness, buying time for his receivers and for Owens, etc. Well, with all the quickness for the Bucs, they're going to take that away. But there is a danger. I listened to that piece. I listened to Warren Sapp. He even mentioned lost the last couple times in Philly. I guarantee you, they watched Philadelphia play last night. In the back of their mind, if there's a danger in this game, they may be thinking, can we win next week at Philly?
See, that's the mistake, because if you go ahead, and we all know, what is that big old cliche? What does everybody say? You got to take 1 game at a time.
Right.
And you do. And in this football game, it's just simple. How have the Buccaneers won? How have they lost? They've lost 4 games very simply by this. They've averaged giving up 145 yards rushing a game. When they win, they only give up around 80 yards. Pretty simple. The 49ers can run for 145 yards, then they'll win today.
Well, I'll tell you you what,
That's simple.
People point to that, but I'll tell you what, that Tampa Bay offense has to put something.
They will put
board.
points on the board. Brad Johnson will have a big day.
Olivier, you wouldn't stand before 53 men and say it like that, would you?
One game like a clucking chip.
I just did it in front of 50
Let's listen in to some of today's big stars.
One at a time, people.
If it's 50 mil.
We got to do this thing, dog. This for the big W, baby.
Go off, baby.
No
Go
doubt.
off today, Sil.
Most definitely.
It's yours, baby. It's yours.
It's mine?
It's yours.
I need to
It's
take
yours.
it then.
I'm just happy to be in your world.
No. We share this, baby. We go 50-50 on this.
I'm Terry Bradshaw, not paying attention. Final thoughts, Jimmy.
Cincinnati owner Mike Brown will still interview Mike Mularkey, offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it looks like Marvin Lewis is the front runner, and he wants the Cincinnati Bengal job, so it could happen.
Although both teams, Tampa Bay and Oakland, are happy with the deal, I think Al Davis has to be the executive of the year. 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, and $8 million for John Gruden, and they're sitting with home field advantage right now, poised to end up in San Diego in the Super Bowl. Did I say that?
The one missing ingredient in Tampa was John Gruden. That offense is back. Gruden
earns his money today.
I like John Gruden. Niners and Bucks up next. The winner heads to the championship game of the NFC.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers introduced to this crowd with flags waving. It is playoff football. Who will earn the right to head to Philadelphia for the NFC Championship game next Sunday? The 49ers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck along with Troy Aikman and Chris Collinsworth. It looks like there's going to be fun out here on the field. Everybody's got a flag. So let's talk about this game. We were there last week. We saw what the 49ers did. It's still hard to believe that they came back. And for Garcia, he kind of got what he likes, and that is open up this offense a little bit, get extra receivers out there. He was unstoppable down the stretch.
Well, it was a big win, and it was a big win because they got great play out of Terrell Owens and Jeff Garcia. And to continue with that today, they are going to have to spread out this defense and allow Jeff Garcia to make plays. But part of his ability to make plays involves him scrambling around with his feet. But today, he's going against arguably the most aggressive, quickest defense in football. In fact, even to Jeff Garcia's admission, he said, I cannot outrun this defensive line, and he's going to have to rely more on his ability to throw the football rather than scrambling around. The other thing he's going to need a lot of help from, Chris, is the ability to run the football with these backs.
And it's not going to be easy because his offensive line is very banged up, and he is facing, let's face it, the best defense in the National Football League. And this week, earlier, Derek Brooks was named as the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year. And ironically, probably his biggest competition for that award came within his own football team with the likes of Warren Sapp and Simeon Rice. What great years they've all had. But I really believe this game's going to come down to Brad Johnson. He's coming back off of the back injury. And with the 49ers banged up secondary, the Bucs are going to have to win this football game throwing the ball with Brad Johnson. Let's see if Johnson and Gruden and this football team can get it done here today.
We hope to get an interview down on the field before kickoff, and while we wait for that to happen, I'll ask you guys. They talk about the Tampa defense and what they've done this year against scrambling quarterbacks, and everybody thinks about Mike Vick first and foremost, but I'll throw this out there. The difference between Vick and Jeff Garcia is Garcia will move around all the while waiting to throw the football downfield, and as Warren Sapp said, he has got a weapon in Terrell Owens that these other guys do not have.
Yeah, I think that really is the key, that anytime you can take the football and just dump a 1-yard pass to Terrell Owens, and he can break it for 70 like he did last week against the Giants, there just isn't a weapon really like that in the National Football League.
We will go down to the field now and check in with Pam Oliver, who's with the anchor, so to speak, of that defense, John Lynch.
That's absolutely right. John, tell me about Terrell Owens. He's obviously a dangerous receiver, but how can you best try to limit him today?
He's a big-time player, no doubt about it. T.O. is one of the best, if not. But we'll do what we do. We never tailor our game plan just to one guy. And what we do, we hit people. And you make it tough for him to catch balls.
All righty. Appreciate it, John. Thank you. Let's go back upstairs to Joe.
Guess it doesn't get much more easy than that. We just hit people. We're fast, and we just hit people. Well, we'll see if this very good #1 ranked defense can hit enough people and stop the San Francisco offense, which a week ago was unstoppable, absolutely unstoppable in the second half against the New York Giants. Football next on Fox. The old pirate ship here in Tampa, Florida. Steve Mariucci walking around on the field yesterday as the 49ers had their walkthrough, and he said, what goes on up in that thing? One thing we know is they blow those cannons when the offense gets into the red zone, and Mariucci's already working the side judge, and why not? The officiating has come front and center in this postseason, and you look at Mariucci, who might have had this Tampa Bay job. However, he waffled over a weekend, and they called John Gruden at 2 o'clock in the morning, and obviously he had been up for a couple of hours. He took their call, and then what? $8 million, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a $15 million contract later. Here he is with a franchise record 12 victories, and he has the Bucs winners of the South with a first-round bye, all rested and ready to go against the 49ers, who about halftime a week ago we thought would be licking their wounds and looking ahead to next season.
Pretty amazing, really, what they pulled off. And I can remember the Buffalo comeback, Troy, but being in the stadium and watching it take place and watching that momentum turn like that, I just never seen anything like it.
Aaron Stecker, will he be the guy to return a kick for a touchdown? 1,632 kick returns in franchise history. 0 for touchdowns. Stecker dives forward, and he's knocked down right at the 30. Salim Rashid, who's active finally, made the tackle for the 49ers. Well, here comes Brad Johnson. That's right. You know this, the #1 rated passer in the National Football Conference. It's hard to believe that he is the guy, but he had some kind of season. 22 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. The offensive line, much maligned early in the season, has been getting better and giving Pittman an opportunity to break off some runs. But the running game is definitely a weak spot for this Tampa Bay offense. First play of the day from scrimmage, and it's a throw incomplete. And Julian Peterson was all over Keyshawn Johnson. Let's look at the defense. Julian Peterson was a guy we highlighted a week ago. His dealings with Jeremy Shockey of the New York Giants. Up front, Carter, Stubblefield, Young, and O'Keefer. A hurry-up approach for the Buccaneers. Their second play of the day. They're the defensive backs, and that's the area that the Buccaneers will try to exploit. Pittman fell down making his break, and the ball was nearly picked off by Plummer, and that'll bring up a 3rd down and 10.
Well, as you watch Brad Johnson, we talked about the fact that he missed the last 2 ball games. He feels coming into this game that he's as healthy as he's been all season long. He feels like he got a zip back in his arm. He's got his legs back underneath him. He had a great week of practice. You wonder, though, however, that even though he's only missed 2 games, he has not played in 4 weeks because of the bye week they had last weekend.
That's complete. That's a first down, and that's Joe Juravicius.
Well, one of the big matchups is going to be Roman Oben, the left tackle, against Andre Carter. And pass protection has definitely been an issue all season long. Nice job that time, though. Juravicius working on the middle linebacker, Derek Smith. That was the first time that we've seen a little man coverage out of the 49ers of those first 2 plays. They've been trying to take some pressure off their quarterbacks. But if they try and match up man-to-man, I don't think they're going to win that battle.
All kinds of movement before the snap. On first down, Johnson fires. It's tipped. pass is incomplete.
Well, you can't have pass interference if the ball was tipped.
No foul on the play. The pass was tipped. Second down.
That's just flat out knowing the rules, Collinsworth.
Just call me Spike. But once the ball is tipped at the line of scrimmage, then you can't get the pass interference. So even though Julian Peterson was all over Keyshawn Johnson, and my guess is Keyshawn Johnson will let somebody know about that once he feels that way, there's no pass interference.
And Julian Peterson is going to be looking up Keyshawn Johnson. Anytime he gets in the area, he's going to be trying to get a hit on Keyshawn.
This is Pittman. He gets a yard, maybe a yard and a half, and it'll be 3rd and long coming up.
And then you consider what the Buccaneers have done running the football. Throughout the season, they had really struggled, but 3 out of their last 4 games, they've been able to rush for over 100 yards. A big part of that is Michael Pittman and his ability to finally slow down and read the blocks. But talking to John Gruden yesterday and asking him about the improved offensive line play in the running game, he thought it was more just a concentration on his part than any dramatic improvement up front.
3rd down and 9. Quick throw, and it's picked off. Interception for the 49ers in great field position, just shy of the 40. It's Rashad Holman, an extra defensive back.
Well, and that to me looked like it was all Keyshawn Johnson, who was supposed to be running a slant route, and right there he stops, and Brad Johnson thinks he's going to continue across Holman's face. Because Keyshawn Johnson stops, Brad throws the ball, and it's an easy interception. That is a cardinal rule that you do not stop on a slant route. You have to cross the defensive back's face on that route.
And now the #1 ranked defense in the league. The Buccaneers taking on this 49er offense, which starts at the Tampa Bay 40. Incomplete. Hurst, the intended receiver. Well, Jeff Garcia had a lot of headlines regarding his play a week ago, and he's protected by this offensive line. But as we've talked about already, bad left ankles almost across the board. They belong to Stone, Newberry, and Deese. Hurst and Beasley in the backfield. Owens and Streets, the wide receivers, and Johnson, the tight end. That's Garrison Hurst. And if there is one thing going in that everybody's talked about, guys, it is up front for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're fast, they get upfield, but you can run against this group. And it involves Simeon Rice, Chartrick Darby, Warren Sapp, and Greg Spires. The linebackers, Derek Brooks, the best in the business. In the secondary, Lynch and an improved Dexter Jackson at the safety spots. Monty Kiffin puts it together as the defensive coordinator. 3rd and 5. Bucks show blitz, and Garcia falls down, dropping back. And it's time for the 49ers to punt.
Well, really just a huge mistake that time by the 49ers. If they just throw an incomplete pass on that play, they're going to have an opportunity for about a 52-yard field goal should they choose to do that. But by taking the sack, now they're going to have to punt it away.
Carl Williams waiting deep for this punt from Billy LaFleur. Bounces backward. And it's down at the 26 by Brandon Moore. Only a 15-yard punt, and the defense for the Buccaneers survives.
Are brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37.
For the Buccaneers, basically no harm, no foul. Back about where we started. The ball at the 26-yard line. First down for Tampa Bay with no score, despite the Brad Johnson interception.
And that's what this Bucs defense does time after time. They bail out an offense when they make a big mistake.
This offense coming in ranked 24th in the National Football League this season. This is Pittman. And he goes nowhere, falls forward for a gain of only 1. Jimmy Johnson talked about Brad Johnson and his history in the postseason. His numbers in the playoffs not good. The second worst quarterback rating among active quarterbacks. Nice work, Lefty.
Well, and Brad Johnson, he knows that he has not gotten the respect that he feels that he deserves, but he also recognizes that these are the games, these playoff games are the games that you gain that respect. He's got to play better today than he has in his previous games.
Second down and 9. Johnson throws it over the head of Keyshawn Johnson. Third time coming up.
You know, one of the things that is so key for this ball game today is this 49ers secondary is banged up. Jason Webster, one of their starting cornerbacks, out of the game. Ahmed Plummer, who was just lit up a week ago by Amani Toomer. They want to protect him. They want to protect the rookie Mike Rumph on the other side. They're back to playing a little bit more of their basic cover 2 defense so that these guys aren't in the man-to-man situations that they got stuck in last week in the first half against the Giants.
And it's really where this defense feels comfortable. Third down and 9. Johnson on the run, fires, and it's Juravicius with another first down catch.
We showed Andre Carter earlier, and again, he's working against Roman Oben. He comes on an inside move and is able to force Brad Johnson outside the pocket, but Brad, although he's not a very mobile quarterback, he does have the presence of being able to find receivers on the move. Joe Juravicius, a big target, working against a rookie Mike Rumph. Nice job, nice execution, first down.
Well, we just talked about all the injuries to the secondary, and now Ahmed Plummer is down early in this one.
He's been bothered by a sore groin, but they're looking at the upper body of Ahmed Plummer. We'll take a break. That's Jason Webster watching from the sideline.
Fox are brought to you by HP. HP Technology Services and People help make more things more possible. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. By Visa, it's everywhere NFL fans want to be. And by Porsche, discover what only Porsche brings to driving.
It's a first down play from the 40. Johnson dumps it off to Allstott, breaks one tackle, picks up a first down, still rumbling inside the 45.
There's Ahmed Plummer coming in with his right arm and right wrist, trying to make the tackle, and that's what they were concerned about on the field. You see him just taking the direct shot to the face mask of Joe Juravicius. And they are just so thin in the secondary. Even the guys that are healthy aren't healthy. Tony Parrish back there with a dislocated elbow and Plummer going off the field. Zach Bronson had to leave the game with a bad foot last week.
First down, Tampa Bay, Allstott. They love him here in Tampa, Florida. Picks up 5 right up the middle.
Well, that's really where Mike Allstott needs to be playing when he's in the backfield. As we've talked about many times, he is not a true fullback. When he's in the fullback position, he's still going to be more of a runner. He's not much of a blocker, but you put him back there in that I formation. That time they had Darian Barnes in at fullback as his blocker, but he's a big, strong guy, and they know that because of the speed of this 49er defense, they've got to run right at these guys to have success running the football.
Second down and 5. Johnson over the middle, and it's incomplete for Dilger.
And I know running the football has not been the strong suit of this Buccaneers offense, even though they've been a little bit better at the end of the season. But right now, when you have a 49ers defense with their secondary as banged up as they are, they're not going to take many chances. They're going to sit there in that umbrella coverage, the cover 2 with only 7 guys in the box. Now is the time for a Mike Allstott to come in there and just pound the football against these guys because they can't support from the secondary.
Yeah, this is the down that the 49ers defense has struggled last in the league during the regular season, stopping teams on third down.
It is third down and 5. Johnson throws, and it's incomplete. McCardell will get the flag. Julian Peterson on the coverage. Bryant Young had pressure on Brad Johnson on the play.
Well, Julian Peterson is the one who missed the tackle on Allstott earlier. You see here clearly pass interference. You cannot grab the receiver. A lot of times on a crossing route, a linebacker will try to hit him within that 5-yard period. But right there, Julian Peterson clearly has a hold of him.
One thing that needs to be pointed out here early, and we've seen it pop up a couple of times already, is the size difference between the wide receivers of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the secondary for this 49ers team. The big bodies of Keyshawn Johnson, Joe Juravicius. First down for Tampa Bay, and all stop. Tap dancing gets back to the line of scrimmage.
And Joe, I think that's going to be a point that we're going to be making on both sides of the ball, because the receivers for the 49ers clearly are much bigger, stronger, and more physical than the corners are for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So right now for Tampa Bay, what they have done all season long with their receivers is they don't have much speed. They're not going to beat many people down the field vertically, so they've got to be able to use those big bodies to shield defenders to get completions.
The word on Ahmed Plummer is a dislocated right shoulder. So now Holman's in the secondary. Rumph is already there filling in for Webster. That's off the hands of the tight end Dudley. And if you bring in an extra cornerback, it's DeJuan Hawthorne, who was released from Dallas earlier this season.
Boy, Ricky Dudley with a huge drop right there. Troy, did you see that front wall that he had in front of him? They really had this play set up, and I'm not so sure he wouldn't still be running if he'd have been able to hold on to that football. So Ricky Dudley's one of those guys, you look at him, such a phenomenal athlete, but just so inconsistent throughout his career.
Third down and 10 now. Buccaneers within field goal range for Martin Gramatica over the middle. That's Johnson. Keyshawn with a first down at the 11.
Well, this is one of Keyshawn Johnson's signature routes. Julian Peterson just lets him go by him and doesn't pick him up, and as a result, they create a real void right there in the middle of the field. As you see, Dudley, by him going vertical, it takes the other linebacker, Derek Smith, up the field, and just a breakdown in defensive coverage on that play.
A lot of confusion right now in that 49ers secondary. They act like they don't know where they're going.
From the 11, it's first and 10. 10th play of the drive, and it's Michael Pittman. Took on a big hit and eventually fell forward for 4 yards.
Now, if Pittman runs that hard, do they blow that A-train whistle for that too? I mean, it kind of looked like the A-train on that. I'm going to go ahead and blow the whistle in this place. He's had a pretty tough year around here. Mike Allstott, such a popular guy, and they love him here. You saw Jenkins pulling out in front of the play. But you can say anything you want about Pittman, but the guy does run the football hard.
Ball resting at the 7. Second down and 6. High formation, play action. That's all stop. Knocked down near the first down marker.
You know, because of some of the injuries, you've got people just out of position right now. Tony Parrish, a safety, essentially having to play the cornerback position outside in the cover 2. There he goes, right out here. And that's not his normal position. He's not a guy that's used to playing this particular play. And I think Brad Johnson is picking up on that.
The crowd reacting because Warren Sapp is in on this offensive play where it's 3rd and 1. He's in a tight end position. This is all stop with Sapp blocking. Touchdown. Put some beef on the field for this touchdown.
Yeah, they sure did. You get Warren Sapp, big body, and Ken Dilger down there blocking. Of course, getting the ball to Mike Allstott. That's a heavy load.
Gramatica makes it 7-0. A lot of big bodies banging around, and it's Allstott who bangs it through. First score of the day. 7-0 Buccaneers. The Bucs were 3 for 3 on 3rd down on that last drive. 12-play drive covering over 5 minutes. And yes, the Bucs have crossed the goal line. Their first touchdown in their last 4 playoff games. This is Paul Smith. Decent return out across the 30. Well, it was Mike Allstott into the end zone for the touchdown, but he didn't get all the glory. The defensive players for the Bucs love it when one of their own is in on an offensive touchdown. Buccaneers bring Gruden aboard, and they're in the end zone in a playoff game. 7-0 under 6.5 to play first quarter. Barlow split out wide to the right, and Garcia rolls right and throws. He finds his tight end Johnson. A gain of only 2.
You know, we saw coming out of the timeout there, Warren Sapp showing him, and we talked to him on Friday, and he was pretty cranked up about this ball game. Kevin Barlow this week, running back for the 49ers, he claimed that the Tampa Bay defense was a finesse defense.
Oops.
I'll tell you what, Warren Sapp, you want to get somebody fired up, call him finesse, and I don't know where Kevin Barlow got that. I mean, this is the most aggressive physical defense I've seen in a long time.
2nd down and 8. Over the middle. Pass is complete. J.J. Stokes a gain of 5. Well, next week we will be in Philadelphia. Who will be there as the visiting team in the NFC Championship game? It'll be a 2-hour pregame show prior to kickoff. Either the 49ers or the Buccaneers against the Eagles. Donovan McNabb, welcome back. Andy Reid was the coach of the year, and for good reason with what the Eagles did, not missing a beat when McNabb went down. 3rd down and 3. Garcia throws, and the pass complete for a 1st down. That's Ty Streets, and I thought it was interesting to listen to Garcia talk about this Tampa 2, or the defense for the Buccaneers. He said, A, that's kind of a misnomer because they're not in that all the time. And B, while everybody tries to throw slants to take advantage of it, we look at a lot of out routes near the sideline. That's where we feel we can get advantage.
Well, that's exactly right. Because of the speed of this defensive pass rush, most teams want to get the ball out in a hurry. Jeff Garcia says we have got to force the issue and get the ball down the field and challenge these corners.
A 1st down for the 49ers, and this is Barlow. And Lynch says finesse, huh? Just shy of midfield. A gain of 7.
Well, they made a lot of points about Dexter Jackson, the other safety, on the other side of John Lynch, being able to come down and make plays the same way that Lynch did. But on this one, he just simply got juked out by Barlow, and Lynch had to come in from behind and clean it up. Jackson was right in the hole and just missed the play.
That's Ahmed Plummer with his dislocated right shoulder. That's a bad scene for the 49ers in their defense. Quick throw, Owens. That was easy. Hi, we're the Tampa Bay defense, and right now we'd like to give you a 1st down.
Well, and that's what Jeff Garcia was talking about. He says these corners, when they're in one-on-one situations or when they're in cover 3 zones, they play soft. You see right here, all this room right here between Rondé Barber and Terrell Owens, and it's just pitch and catch. And when you can get the ball into Terrell Owens' hands quickly and allow him that kind of space one-on-one, he's going to make some plays.
49ers trying to answer, down 7-0. Ball at the Tampa Bay 40. Blitz coming, they pick it up, and this is Streets. Made a move, nobody really bit, a gain of only 3.
For the value of Garrison Hurst in that backfield, being able to come across the formation here and pick up John Lynch and allow Garcia time to throw the football. Garcia has so much confidence in Garrison Hurst that he really didn't flinch in a situation where most quarterbacks may have looked down to try and pick that up.
Yeah, Garcia told us last week that Kevin Barlow is the better receiver of the two, but Garrison Hurst is better at blitz recognition and pass protection, and you saw it right there.
Hurst goes out, Barlow gets the football, and he dives down to the 34.
And what you're seeing when San Francisco is trying to run the football, much like what Tampa Bay was trying to do when they had the ball, they're going to try to run between the tackles, keep it straight ahead. They know that because of the speed, the lateral speed, of this defense for Tampa Bay, that they have got to run it right at them. That's what Philadelphia Eagles did when they had success, and that's what the 49ers are hoping to duplicate here today.
3rd down and 3. Blitz again from the Buccaneers, and over the middle, it's caught. 1st down. That's Streets to the corner. Ty Streets forced out of bounds just shy of the end zone. They're going to mark him out at the 2.
Well, they know that they can't just sit back and let Jeff Garcia pick them apart, so they try to bring pressure. This time they bring Derek Brooks, and they had a nice plan on the outside, the 49ers with the receivers. A little bit of a natural pick right there, which gets them open, and Ty Streets is able to run down the field because of the man-to-man coverage and the natural pick that picked the defender.
I'll tell you, I just don't think these cornerbacks from the Buccaneers are good enough to play the 49er receivers one-on-one. I think that's a mistake.
Officials move the ball back just outside the 3-yard line. It's 1st and goal. Little pump fake and a quick throw. Too hot for Stokes.
I think that one would have been too hot for anybody. I mean, that close, and I know what Garcia is thinking. He sees Stokes. He's got a lane there. Try to get it on him in a hurry. Just a little bit too much, and would have been a nice catch, but it had a lot of heat on it.
Kind of like that Brett Favre theory. Let's just throw it as hard as we can. And I know my guys might catch it. I know no DB is going to catch it in that situation.
The second half work by the 49ers last week with that red zone production. This is Barlow. A loss on the play.
Well,
finesse that.
And that's what you cannot do as a runner. You cannot settle down in the hole once you get the football. You got to keep your legs going and move straight ahead. You watch this defensive front, the push that they get, and then Barlow stops in the hole, and as soon as you do that, you have nowhere to run. They pursue much too quick.
One of the interesting things, they're moving Warren Sapp from his usual defensive right side to the left side to try and contain. There we go. Sapp's right over here, and that's not his normal position. Usually he's one position to the right.
It's 3rd down and goal. Garcia buying time. Back of the end zone, incomplete. Owens, the intended receiver, and the field goal unit will step onto the field for San Francisco.
Well, anytime they get down here in goal line situations, number 81, Terrell Owens, is who they're going to be looking for. And really just kind of ran out of real estate. Shelton Quarles, who's very quick himself, but obviously a mismatch if they're out in the middle of the field. But Jeff Garcia just was unable to get turned and make a throw when Owens had an opportunity because of the pressure he was under.
Jeff Chandler, place kicker for the 49ers with his bad left ankle. Drills it. There is a difference between these two place kickers. A lot of postseason experience for Gramatica, and Mariucci happy that Chandler knocks it through.
Terrell Owens immediately went to Jeff Garcia during the break and said, listen, they're playing me man-to-man coverage out there. These are fairly small cornerbacks. I can push them. I can make my moves. I can get open. Just throw me the football.
Well, they threw him the short one, right off the line of scrimmage, but I know Terrell wants to be able to force it further down the field in those situations of one-on-one.
This is Aaron Stecker from about the 5. Big hit. As Stecker crossed the 20, they'll mark him at the 23. Let's go down to the field and check in with Pam Oliver.
All right, Joe, you saw cornerback Ahmed Plummer come out, his dislocated shoulder heavily taped. Well, the trainers tried to pop that shoulder back into place, but without success. Plummer looked crestfallen. He had to be consoled by defensive coordinator Jim Mora Jr. Plummer is now officially listed as doubtful. Back to you.
I'd say without pads on, without a jersey, he was so crestfallen, to use Pam's word, at halftime last week. Jim Mora Jr. was trying to point out Ahmed's wife in the crowd and trying to play psychologist after just a wretched first half against the Giants. 3 touchdowns to his side, 6 for 6 in throwing, 78 yards. Amani Toomer schooled him. This is all stuff. Pick up the 4. And that will do it for the first quarter here in Tampa, Florida. The Buccaneers break the seal. They get into the end zone of the postseason. Lead by 4 after 1. The NFL on Fox will continue after these messages. Well, you've got Tiki on your left, Rondé on your right, and they may be twins and they may look identical facially. But Troy, you were pointing out that those two guys are different now, body size. I mean, Tiki's all yoked up. Rondé has stayed slim.
Rondé runs a little bit more at that cornerback position.
This is all stop. Suffers a hit, tries to fight for the first down, and he's brought down right at the marker.
I don't think Rashad Holman's ever hit anybody quite like Mike Allstott. He tried to brave up and throw a shoulder at him, but if you've seen any highlights of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the last few years, you know that's not going to get it done.
Well, and that's what they miss when they lose Jason Webster and Ahmed Plummer along with coverage, but those two guys are also very good tacklers, and you're not going to come in and throw a shoulder on Mike Allstott or anybody for that matter and get him to the ground.
Barnes and Allstott in the backfield on 3rd and less than 1, and it's Allstott, and it's a first down.
Well, Tampa Bay has been very successful here in this first half on 3rd downs, and that's an area of this 49er defense where they struggled. They were last in the league during the regular season stopping teams on 3rd down. That has continued in the playoff game last week against the Giants, and it's continuing here again today.
First down for Tampa Bay. So far, 5 out of 6 on 3rd down conversions after getting the last on the run by Allstott. Johnson throws it up and out of bounds as he was wrapped up by Bryant Young. Well, we knew that the 49ers were going to run the ball a lot coming in. Mike Allstott has had a busy day. He's been running the ball. He's been catching the ball. He's been bouncing off would-be tacklers, fighting for the end zone. Coming up shy once, not that time. The only touchdown of the day, and it belongs to Allstott, who rushed for 5 during the regular season.
And I think it's important to point out that the injuries in the secondary are a big reason why Tampa is able to run the football, because now you can't play the man coverage, you can't bring the safeties up to help, so you're going to see a lot of Allstott and Pittman today.
2nd down and 10. It looked like Keyshawn Johnson came across the line of scrimmage too soon. He was in motion and trying to get a jump on his block. Was a little anxious.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. He was.
That's a snap, 5 yards. Repeat, 2nd down.
Little eager trying to get going across the line of scrimmage. And what sometimes happens is you miss time where you're at when the ball snaps, so you try to rush it in order to get. He's trying to make that crack block right there on Sean Moran, and he was out of position when the ball was getting ready to be snapped. You try to force the issue and go up the field, and you just can't do that.
Well, the strange thing is that it was really more of a cutoff block than it was a crack, because he was trying to get in front of him, so there really wasn't a reason to take that kind of an angle.
2nd down and 15. Johnson with time over the middle, slings it. And Keyshawn Johnson brought down just shy of a first down, a gain of 14.
Working against the zones in the middle against the 49ers, Keyshawn Johnson, there's not many better at picking apart zones than he is. It's really just a matter of getting on the other side of Julian Peterson and finding that hole. And Brad Johnson and Keyshawn Johnson really starting to get on the same page, especially against zone defenses.
Yeah, and that was Dwan Hawthorne at corner, and he did nothing to redirect Keyshawn Johnson. Keyshawn gets a clean release, is able to sit in that hole well.
The big body's trying to get a first down, and Allstott gets another.
One of their favorite plays in short yardage is getting Kerry Jenkins pulling out and around and leading up through. I've seen them just do this time after time on short yardage, and then you get the fullback in front and Allstott behind, and good luck trying to stop that big old train with all that lead block.
Ball at the Tampa Bay 49. Johnson down the middle, McCardell can't hang on, incomplete. Lost the ball and his helmet in the process.
Well, this time he's got Tony Parrish, who's going to be trying to run up inside the seam on him, and they have a chance. They have a chance. It's crowded, but McCardell had a chance to come down with that football and just is unable to hang on to it. But they're having to make some adjustments because of the injury. Now with their two starting corners out of the game, Ahmed Plummer and Jason Webster, you got Mike Rump and then Rashad Holman. And the question is, what exactly do you do when the Buccaneers go to a 3-wide set? Do you bring in another corner, Dwayne Hawthorne, which they have at times, or do you drop in a third safety?
Second down and 10. Another throw. Johnson slings it. Keyshawn Johnson down inside the 25.
Well, this is the same sort of look that we saw earlier. So they come back to the play action off the same fake. Kerry Jenkins going to pull out in front. They go play action. Keyshawn Johnson's going to run it all the way across the field. And Brad Johnson with an easy pitch and catch.
Yeah, and again, Dwan Hawthorne was the one in coverage that was unable to make the play. Great throw, Brad Johnson.
12 men in the huddle, 5 yards. It's still first down.
During the huddle, the Bucs had 12 men in it. And even with Keyshawn Johnson pleading his case and Brad Johnson pleading his case to Jerry Austin, he throws the flag, and that'll cost Tampa Bay 5 yards.
So you don't see Brad Johnson get that emotional too many times, but boy, he certainly is here.
Let's see here. I know I can't count it this high. Maybe the machine can. Yeah, there's 12.
First down at 15, and a toss to Pittman goes nowhere. Rashad Holman up from the cornerback spot to help on the tackle. And a loss on the play of 2. Second down.
You know, it really is important for this Tampa offense to keep it going. San Francisco is only the 4th top 10 offense that this Bucs defense has had to play against. And in those other games, they're just 1 and 2 in those 3 opponents. So this is not something you can just assume that Tampa's defense is going to shut out the 49ers the rest of the way.
Second down and 17. Johnson over the middle. He hits Pittman, who gets hit at the 20. And that'll bring up a 3rd and 7.
You know, one thing about John Gruden is you're never quite certain exactly what he's going to do or how he's going to try to feature this running game. He realizes that if they're going to win this game, it's going to be on Brad Johnson's shoulder. But one thing he has not done during this season is he's not neglected the running game even when they've struggled, and he's tried just about everything he can to get it going. Michael Pittman, he had been running the ball well at the latter part of the season, but then today they've been featuring more of Mike Allstott.
3rd down and 7. This is Juravicius, and that's a touchdown.
Well, we've seen Joe Juravicius in the big games keep coming up with big plays. This time he's going to be working on the safety, Zach Bronson, who's coming off the foot injury. He had to come out of the ball game in the 3rd quarter last week. But Joe Juravicius is just one of those rock-steady kind of guys. Troy, we saw in practice, they kept throwing these corner routes, and I think the reason they did was they saw the weakness at the safety position for the 49ers a week ago.
It'll be interesting to see another look at that last replay. As Gramatica knocks home the extra point. There was a little bobble there with Juravicius bringing the ball in and securing it. We'll give you a look at the replay when we come back. It won't be reviewed. Keyshawn Johnson salutes Brad Johnson and the Tampa Bay offense.
Brought to you by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers. By Dell. Flexible enterprise solutions that are easy to buy, easy to own, easy as Dell. By Best Buy. For the latest technology, turn on the fun at Best Buy. And by Visa. It's everywhere NFL fans want to be.
Well, if you're smart and you score a touchdown with a receiver just getting his feet inbounds before heading out of bounds, and we'll give you another look at that replay, you get your field goal unit on to tack on the extra point in a hurry, which the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did. This is Vinny Sutherland. Vinny. Down near the 40. And they will throw a flag for that late hit. Nate Webster was over there on the stop, and a flag came flying in when Sutherland was hit along the sideline.
Well, Nate Webster, you take a look, he was engaged with him right there, and that's when you got to know where you are and let him go.
Number 52 of the kicking team, 15 yards, first down.
Take another look at the touchdown. Remember, it was a 3rd and 7 play. Watch the regrab right there. No challenge. It would have been worth at least an extra look. It's 14-3 Tampa Bay. This crowd trying to climb in the game and cheer on this #1 ranked defense. 9:19 to play first half. 14-3 Buccaneers. This is Hurst. Big hit from Lynch, but a big gain on first down. He got 9. And now a penalty flag comes in at the end of the play again. John Lynch.
It appears that they're going to get Lynch on unnecessary roughness.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 47, 15 yards, first down.
At first look, it looked like Garrison Hurst kind of rolled over and gave a little shove to John Lynch after the tackle, probably because Lynch had his knee right in his back. Let's see exactly what happened. I don't know.
Well, I think Hurst was trying to get up. Lynch was in a position where he couldn't allow him to get up. Hurst gets upset, and then Lynch right there with the knee is what the official saw and drew the flag.
So that's 30 yards of unnecessary roughness penalties, which has brought the ball all the way inside the 25. First down, Garcia right to the end zone, and what a play by Al Singleton. Got his hand up to break up what looked to be a touchdown throw as the receiver was open.
It was absolutely a touchdown, Joe. Al Singleton makes a great play here, getting a hand on that ball. Otherwise, it was clearly a touchdown. Ty Streets fakes to the outside, comes back in. That's all the defense that you see on your screen was there. Shelton Quarles wouldn't have made the play. Dexter Jackson was out of it.
Second down and 10. Garcia rolls, looking to throw, and there's nothing there.
That's a great job right there by Tampa Bay's defensive recognition. They came up in a blitz look. They were in man coverage. Jeff Garcia went to the audible, and then all of a sudden, the Buccaneers defensively come out of it. Here comes the audible. They're going to check out to a basic cover 2. Garcia comes on the bootleg, and that play's no good against that defense. Tremendous recognition by the Bucs. And Warren Sapp going to let them know about it, too.
Third and 10. Garcia fires, and it's incomplete. Owens, the intended receiver, and there was pressure by Dexter Jackson, the free safety on the play.
Well, they're able to get some pressure with Dexter Jackson. You're going to see him 34 coming off the corner here. Garcia, as a result, has to unload it a little bit earlier, but Rondé Barber does a nice job on that play as the corner lined up over Terrell Owens, getting his hands on him and redirecting him as he talked about wanting to do coming into this game.
The inexperienced rookie kicker, 40-yard try. He's hit from 24 today. Nothing to it. A 14-6 Tampa Bay lead. He's got a bad left ankle. He's been dead solid perfect since turning that ankle in the pregame warm-ups last week. Yeah, I'm a kicker. That's right. It's 14-6.
To you by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
It's an 8-point game. Terrell Owens moments ago on the sideline just pleading with the offensive line of the 49ers to give Garcia time. Aaron Stecker waiting deep. Fumbles it forward, picks it up, and now breaks free. Chandler knocks him out of bounds up near midfield.
Sometimes it just goes your way. Aaron Stecker is just going to flat out drop it, and this ball is going to kick right back up into his lap. Believe me, footballs, oblong footballs, don't typically do that, and he's able to catch it in full stride and break it. Good thing that Chandler was back there to make the play. Not often a kicker is going to be able to make an open field tackle like that. Pretty good play.
Knocked out of bounds at the 48. Johnson airs it for Juravicius, and they're going to throw a flag.
Pass interference, 31 defense, automatic first down.
Zach Bronson again.
Well, here's what happens. Joe Juravicius is going to run an out and up. It's actually on Tony Parrish. He's the one who got caught in coverage on Juravicius and never gets turned around. The ball's underthrown, so the advantage goes to the receiver, having to try to come back and make a play.
But, Troy, what's happening now is they're having to play their safeties, Parrish and Bronson, on wide receivers because of the injuries to Plummer and Webster, and Brad Johnson's just taking full advantage.
First down, Buccaneers, and all stop. Gets it up near the 12, a gain of 4. Joe Millionaire, all new tomorrow, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. You know, the guy they ended up with, the $19,000 a year construction worker, was actually the second choice. The first guy's mullet gave it away, so they had to pick a new guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, don't you know those women are going to be disappointed?
What do you mean he can't play polo? Second down and 6. 7.5 to go in the half. Johnson fires, end zone, Dudley for the touchdown. What a start for Brad Johnson.
First he comes out. Keyshawn Johnson's up the left sideline. Brad sees it late, but because of that, he's able to come back into Dudley, and there was just take your choice on that one. Brad had 2 guys open for touchdowns.
Brad Johnson, normally very reserved, throws the touchdown pass, and from his back, celebrates a touchdown throw to Ricky Dudley. 21-6 Buccaneers. Want to go back to the '99 season, the game at St. Louis, the last couple of years with the playoff losses in Philadelphia. Different story for the Buccaneers today, able to get into the end zone as Paul Smith crosses the 30.
Well, if you want to see the power of the running game, here it is. All the action coming here. Jenkins pulling around. Now watch these linebackers go with the flow. And now everything comes across this way, and there's nothing right there.
Troy Aikman, you're in a bad spot when you're the 49ers and your defense is giving it up, albeit with injuries to the secondary, and you're now involved in what would have to be a shootout with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers if you're going to come back and win this game playing against this defense.
Yeah, they don't give up a lot of yards. They don't give up a lot of points. #1 defense in the league this year, and arguably the best defense since the 1985 Chicago Bears. But one thing that you could say maybe plays into the 49ers' favor is that Jeff Garcia and this offense seems to be more comfortable when they're able to spread people out and get into a little bit of a no-huddle situation. Obviously, you don't want to have that happen. But in the event that they do go to that, I think it is a football team that feels very confident that they can dictate the tempo and start to wear this defense down.
They called it offside on that last kickoff. And the 49ers, hoping for a big return, will make the Bucs kick it away again.
And I think the story of this first half so far is exactly right there. The fact that on that first drive they got the interception, go 3 and out. The next 2 drives they take it up and down the field, do a great job of moving it against this tremendous Tampa Bay defense, but they don't stick it in the end zone. So they really had 3 scoring opportunities, and they only come away with 6 points.
That's typical against the Buccaneer defense. One of 5 teams since the league went to a 16-game schedule to allow less than 200 points. Sutherland loses it. The ball is there for the taking and right at midfield. Vinny Sutherland coughed it up, and now the scrum to see who ends up with the football. It's Tampa Bay. Dwight Smith comes away with the ball.
This is a Tampa Bay football team that feeds on turnovers. They do it on defense. They do it here on special teams. Last thing you want to do is start allowing the ball to get on the ground and give the ball to this offense in great field position.
Great job there by Corey Ivy. I don't think Sutherland ever saw him. He snuck up from behind as he was stumbling a bit, got his hand on the ball, and it just bounced out.
So in the end, the offside penalty on Tampa Bay on the kickoff previous to that one ends up getting them the football, or costing San Francisco the ball. A loss of 1 on the play as Michael Pittman ran into a wall. Coming this February, DW, Larry Mack, and the Emmy Award-winning Fox Racing team are back, starting with the 45th running of the Daytona 500. The Great American Race kicks off NASCAR on Fox coverage through June.
Doing a little testing down in Daytona right now.
2nd down and 11. As Brad Johnson continues to test the secondary. That's Dilger. And he's brought down just shy of the 40. 3rd and short coming up. Mike Rumpf made the stop.
And Joe, I think you made a great point in that you are not going to score a lot of points against this Tampa Bay defense, and certainly the 49ers have been able to move the ball. They have had to settle for the field goals in this game. It really comes down to what this 49er defense is able to do, and they cannot allow the Tampa Bay offense to go down and score touchdowns the way that they have.
Turnovers even today, 1 apiece. Dilger with a terrific catch and a 1st down, forced out by Parrish.
One of the toughest things to try and stop for a defense is the bunch formation. When you put a couple of wide receivers together in short yardage, you really can't come up and try and jam these receivers. So now you're just afraid to get up and play them too tightly because you could get picked off and end up giving up a touchdown on the play, and especially when you have a safety in that situation. Tony Parrish again really having to do something he's not too comfortable doing right now.
Jim Mora Jr., the defensive coordinator, can't be too comfortable without Plummer and Webster available. And Brad Johnson is taking advantage of it. Penalty flag on the throw. Johnson was hit as he let it go, and it's in the area of a hold.
Well, I think another storyline
60 offense, 10 yards, repeat 1st down.
Yes.
Has been the Tampa Bay much maligned offensive line essentially whipping these 49ers. This is a good pass rushing bunch with Andre Carter and Bryant Young and Shakay O'Keefe up front. but this is the best I've seen this offensive line this year. Not only getting some movement in the running game, but the protection of Brad Johnson. He's had a little bit longer to throw the football than he's had at least in the past month or so.
No flags fly as Pittman gets it down to the 44, a gain of 2. Well, what about Brad Johnson? I mean, you talked about Brad Johnson during our pregame show, a little pop that we do from the stadium here, and then going back to the studio, Jimmy Johnson talked about Brad Johnson's history in the playoffs. But if you talk to Brad, A, he's ticked off that he's not going to the Pro Bowl, whether he wants to admit it publicly or not, and why shouldn't he be? And B, he feels like he's got the best team around him that he's ever had. Second down and 18. Bentley wasn't looking for the pass on the blitz. It didn't turn around, and that'll bring up 3rd and long.
Well, I think Brad Johnson is a very aware guy. He's very realistic. He understands that he's probably not gotten the recognition or the respect that he feels that he deserves, and I think that he's probably right in feeling that way. But the reason for that is he's not a real flashy guy. I mean, he's not a guy who runs around the pocket and makes plays like a Donovan McNabb or Brett Favre. He just kind of goes about in a workmanlike way and does his job, and he knows that his legacy is going to be winning championships. He knows that the best opportunity he's had in his career is with this football team, best team in his words that he's played for. Now he's got to make the most of it.
Big blitz, and Peterson up the back of Johnson as he let it go. Penalty flag on the play, as Johnson was just happy to get rid of it. And it's a hold on the defense.
Holding number 97 of the defense.
Listen to this part of it.
Pulling an offensive lineman out of the way so a defender can go to the quarterback. 5 yards, automatic first down.
That's the big part, automatic first down.
On a 3rd and 17 play, you end up with a hold. Here it's going to be right here. Pull and grab so that your blitzer can come through. He's going to grab Cozy Coleman and just open it up for Julius Peterson, but he didn't even have to. Coleman was going to block him. See if there's a little.
It looked like he was trying to grab Jeff Christie to open up that lane, but
I tell you what, though, this is the playoffs, man. You got to let him play a little bit.
On first down, it's Allstott running to the right side. A gain of only 1 on the play, and this is a severe test for the San Francisco 49ers defense on this drive. Already down 21-6. It looked like they had the Buccaneers stopped, and that holding call gives Tampa Bay a fresh set of downs.
That's a severe test, and it's a severe test for Jim Mora, the defensive coordinator for this group, and he's had to do a lot of creative things over the course of this season due to injury, and he's having to find out some ways to stop this offense with some different guys because of injury again.
Second down and 9, blitz coming. Brad Johnson gets rid of it and overthrows McCardell.
This blitz is starting to have a little bit of an effect now on Brad Johnson, and I think what Jim Mora is thinking, he's like saying, okay, I get the point. I can't cover these guys down the field, so let's just go ahead and get after Brad Johnson. And it's a pretty good strategy because of some of the problems they've had with protection throughout the course of the year up front for the Buccaneers.
Well, I know coming into this game, they felt that they could get pressure with their front 4. They recognize that Brad has problems when he gets pressure because he will unload the football as he did there. He's not going to make people miss, and he's not going to make big runs.
Another blitz, 3rd down and 9, and Johnson loses the football. Blitz, blitz, blitz. And Julian Peterson has had a lot of action in the backfield of the Buccaneers. He has been looking at Brad Johnson at the end of the last 3 plays.
And there's something to be said, Troy, for the 49ers when they get to desperation time. They go to the no huddle, their offense wakes up. Defensively, they start blitzing people, they start attacking, and let's face it, they don't have much to lose at this point. They're down 21-6, and they're just going to start firing a few bullets out here, and this time it worked.
Well, one thing you can say about Jim Mora Jr., he will do what he has to do and change his plans in order to give his team a chance.
Let's see if Mariucci does the same thing on the offensive side and lets them go a little no huddle now.
Penalty flag on the punt, and a fair catch called for and taken in by Sutherland. Check the marker as the players indicate it's against Tampa Bay. So how tricky do you want to get? How gutsy are you with Sutherland waiting for another punt?
Holding,
Make him kick it
number
again.
66 of the kicking team, 10 yards, replay 4th down.
They will.
Yeah, I definitely agree with this one. Just want to try and get a little bit better field position, and we're going to talk some more about long snappers, and no question about the takedown there. But that was a good takedown because that well could have been blocked.
It's Ryan Benjamin, who is the long snapper on both punts and kicks. And with 2:46 remaining, the 49ers have to take pride in that their defense held, with Tampa Bay getting the ball near midfield on the fumble by Sutherland on the last kick. Tupa booms it. Oh, boy. And it's down just outside the 2.
Boy, every time they take a penalty in the kicking game, it blows up on them. What are the odds that ball doesn't go in the end zone right there?
First to get it, Dwight Smith. He kept it out. And then it was Corey Ivy who downed it. And they mark it just shy of the 3.
Well, the last thing you want to have for an offensive football team coming out onto the field who has been struggling throughout this first half, and now to have to start backed up in your own end of the field next to the goal line limits you tremendously as far as what you can do from a play calling aspect. They have got to first concern themselves with getting the ball out and giving them a place to punt the ball.
Quick throw, and it's complete, and they do get some room. Terrell Owens out across the 15, a gain of 12.
Yeah, that's a great job right there. A great call. Now they're going into their no huddle. They're going to try to come away with some points before this half ends, and be interesting to see now how they run this no huddle after they ran it so effectively last week against the Giants.
Michael Strahan just started to sweat as this 49er offense goes into the no huddle, and the ball's batted up and picked off. Derek Brooks ends up with it. Second turnover of the day, and it's Derek Brooks, who scored 4 touchdowns this season and is the AP Defensive Player of the Year. 2 minutes left in this first half. Off the hands of Streets and into the arms of Brooks. 21-6 with 2 minutes left in the first half, and that Tampa defense got a little rest, and they have come out charged up. Second turnover of the day, and it ends up in the arms of Derek Brooks. Big reason why he won Defensive Player of the Year. 5 interceptions, a total of 4 touchdowns on the season. He had only 1 before this season. And his 6th straight Pro Bowl coming up.
And it's great that he finally got the Defensive Player of the Year. I thought he had an opportunity to get it a few years back that Warren Sapp did, but he really was very deserving over a long period.
Another blitz coming, and the pass is thrown and incomplete. McCardell, the intended receiver, and it was Holman defending.
Let's go back to the interception now, and Rondé Barber right there. Watch him almost get wrong-footed, but still have the quickness to get back underneath. He really had lost Ty Streets, but jumped back underneath it and just tipped the ball up in the air, and Brooks able to pick it off.
I think that shows you the speed of those linebackers and the way that they pursue to the football. If Brooks wasn't as aggressive pursuing the ball as he was, he wouldn't have been able to get that one.
Second down and 10. Another blitz coming from the 49ers, and the Buccaneers run away from it. Pittman brought down inside the 5.
Boy, the 49ers, Troy, are playing so many games up front to try and cover for some of their deficiencies, so they're not just getting blown off the ball. A lot of stunts, a lot of movement, people trying to come down inside. That time, Andre Carter simply got trapped by Keyshawn Johnson, I believe, coming back on the crack, and there was nobody outside.
Yeah, they got Kerry Jenkins out there and Jeff Christie and Michael Pittman running hard. They got them on their heels right now. First and goal from the 4. Pittman. Down to the 2. That's one of the few times you give the ball to Mike Pittman down here in this area. Mike Alstott is normally the guy that gets the football when you get down here in this goal line package. He's obviously very effective, scored a touchdown earlier, but Michael Pittman, I can't say enough about him. I know we talked a little bit earlier about the criticism that he's gotten throughout the season, but just a tough runner. Of course, John Gruden has done a great job of calling plays this game and making the most out of the players that he has. And Michael Pittman, you know, he's been criticized for not setting things up in the running game, but when you watch tape on this guy, and especially when you watch a game,
it will be a 30-second timeout.
You know, there was so much made about John Gruden coming here and the 2 number 1s and the 2 number 2s and the $8 million, and I know Al Davis was happy with his end of the deal. But I think the people in Tampa are kind of happy with their end of the deal, too.
Oh, I think so, and I've always said, I think head coaches in this league make a huge difference for a football team. And if you're an owner and you know there's a guy out there that you think is going to make a difference for your team, in my opinion, there's no price too high. You go get that guy, and in time, it'll pay for itself. And I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if they realize that this year, they soon will.
You saw Warren Sapp check in.
We got 99.
Announced as eligible. Bottom of the offensive line. Easy touchdown, Alstott. Ran to Sapp's side again.
Pretty nice bit of deception right there on the part of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Got everybody sort of off to the right side. Then they start bringing motion and people back around to the other side and simply outflank the 49ers, and they get a walk-in touchdown.
Both Sapp and Dilger in 4-point stances as with 50 seconds left. Gramatica adds the extra point, and it's 28-6.
And do you think Sapp gets more excited about blocking on a touchdown run or sacking a quarterback? I think you could make an argument that he likes blocking more than he does actually hitting the quarterback.
Keyshawn Johnson hitting his coach right in the middle of the back, and Warren Sapp, I'd say he definitely got a kick out of throwing blocks to help get Alstott into the end zone here and into the end zone for the first touchdown of the day. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, J.B. Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will break down the first half of this game. Talk live to Troy Vincent of the Eagles about moving on to the NFC Championship game. And the Fox Sports ticker will keep you updated with up-to-the-second stats.
Yeah, congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles making it to their 2nd consecutive championship game. And Andy Reid, AP Coach of the Year. And what a fabulous year they've had up to this point.
You know, in this kind of a ball game, ordinarily you'd say, well, maybe this one's over, especially against this Bucs defense. But after what we watched last week, they were down 24 and came back and won it. Just down 22 here, that's a piece of cake.
Little different defense this week.
Little different defense, I would agree. But Jeff Garcia and the 49ers have moved the football. It's not that they haven't been able to move it. Just interceptions, bad plays, fumbles, a lot of mistakes.
Sutherland, who's fumbled once today, gets up to the 32. Steve Mariucci's first game as a head coach in the NFL came back in the '97 season. The season opener, and it was Warren Sapp's hit on Steve Young, the knee of Hardy Nickerson, that forced Young out of the game with a concussion. Then it was Sapp grabbing Rice's face mask, and Jerry Rice left the field with a torn-up knee. The 49ers lost that game 13-6. They went on to win 11 straight. Eventually ended up losing in the NFC Championship game that year. From their own 32, keeping it on the ground, Garrison Hurst with a nice run. They mark him down right at the 40, a gain of 9.
Well, that's interesting. You're down 22, and you're not going to come out and fire it around a little bit?
Well, there was even some indecision on Jeff Garcia's part as to whether or not they were going to huddle, go to the line of scrimmage, or even call timeout. Not something that was well thought out on the sideline.
Wow, I don't believe this.
This is hard to believe.
I do not believe this.
The ball's at the 40. You have 2 timeouts left, and you're packing it in for the half?
Not when you're down 28-6. Wow. I agree. I don't understand this at all.
And another left for that Tampa Bay defense, because in essence, the 49ers are heading off the field saying, you know what? We're calling time. Not calling a timeout, but just saying that's it for the first half. That's hard to believe. Stay tuned for the Visa Halftime Report. JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy right after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Big first half for the Bucs.
Visa. It's everywhere NFL fans want to be.
Joe Jurevicius scoring 1 of 4 touchdowns scored by the Tampa Bay Bucs in the first half. San Francisco down 22. Well, they'll have to mount another miracle comeback as we bring you back to Los Angeles. 28-6, Tampa Bay on top of San Francisco. Well, we got on Rain Man for not having it right yesterday about McNabb. Let's go to the coach having it right thus far on Brad Johnson.
Well, Brad Johnson got off to a rough start as far as having the 1 interception. Could have been Keyshawn Johnson's fault for not going across the defensive back's face. But he's come back strong. His passer rating's about what he's had during the year. He's had 2 touchdowns. And really on the other side, the Tampa defense, they are just dominating. You know, San Francisco's offense only had 20 plays for 94 yards. And it just doesn't look like they can do anything against that defense.
Well, and last week, let's not forget, Jeff Garcia led them back versus the Giants with a 24-point deficit. This week, they're down 22 going in at the half. But this is a different Tampa Bay football team, in particular up front in that defensive line. When they start pinning their ears back, look out. Jeff Garcia is going to have a hard time duplicating his performance from last week.
Told you on the pregame show, got to have 145 yards rushing to win this football game. Only 30 so far for the 49ers. It'd be a huge comeback.
Now, what else did Jimmy tell us besides?
He also said that I'll tell you in a minute.
We'll save those thoughts and come back because we don't want to take any time away from our guest.
That's right.
Who's coming up to join us right now. As a matter of fact, the Pro Bowl cornerback for the Philadelphia Eagles led the team last night with a game-high 7 tackles. That would be Troy Vincent. Troy, congratulations on your victory over the Atlanta Falcons. Talk about the prescription for success you guys employed last night.
Well, just team football, and it was nice to see Donovan McNabb back on the field. Collectively, we just got it done on both sides of the football and the special teams. You know, defensively, we got off the field on 3rd down. We contained Michael Vick, and we scored points offensively.
Well, you know, Troy, last night it was Michael Vick, and it looks right now you might be bringing Tampa Bay back up to the vet for one last game. Who's your focal point going to be on this time? There's a great defense, 2 great defensive football teams, but offensively, Brad Johnson, Keyshawn, what will it be? John Gruden, their head coach?
Well, they have multiple weapons, and unlike last night, it was if you can contain Michael Vick and contain Warwick Dunn, you had a pretty good shot of stopping the offense. This week is going to be a tremendous challenge for our defense. We're going to have to try to match their defense intensity, and whatever defense plays the best on next Sunday, we'll advance to the Super Bowl. But we're going to have our hands full defensively.
Troy, Jimmy Johnson here. You've played Tampa once this year already, and you know the receiving group that's coming up there, they can barely outrun me. You're going to be sitting down on a bunch of those routes?
Listen, that's the last thing that they want to hear, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for Keenan McCardell and Keyshawn Johnson. Our hands are going to be full. You know, they're one step closer to the ultimate game, and that's the Super Bowl, and so are we. So, in the event that they continue to have success today, they're going to be licking their chops. You know, they're ready to come back up north to face us.
Hey, Troy, it's Howie Long. Once again, Tampa Bay's road to the Super Bowl has to go through Philadelphia. Now they bring in John Gruden to close the deal. Does Tampa Bay have any reason to believe that the results will be any different than they've been over the last 2 seasons?
I'm sure, and they should. You know, it's a different season. It's a different time. You know, they came here and we got the best of them during regular season, but you know, you're talking about postseason play, and you're 1 game away from going to the Super Bowl. And you know, I'm sure Coach Gruden's going to be up early in the morning, late at night, you know, putting together a master plan to come up here and spoil us.
Hey, Troy, thank you so very much for your time. And as you well know, we will be there next week. And we saw the horse police, if you will, last night. Make sure you have plenty there for Terry Bradshaw because they've seen nothing like him there at all.
That's right. I'm coming to town,
Take care.
Troy.
Thank you.
All right, Troy, thank you so very much. All right,
Take
folks.
care. What was that? Just exactly what was that?
You know, that's exactly
I've
what
never had a problem with the police in my life, or crowds or anything else.
With that in mind, we are getting set
horses.
to take you out to the second half of your game between the San Francisco 49ers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mike Allstott, 2 touchdown runs in the first half. That's the second one right there. Tampa Bay comfortably ahead by 22. Back to our A-team after this.
Goff to rest, relax, get healthy, and store up some of this emotion. It's been an emotional day. Great first half, offensively and defensively for Tampa Bay. Up 28-6. Second half, right around the corner. What a first half defensively and offensively for the Buccaneers. 28-6. Third quarter about to start. Let's go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
Okay, Joe, talked to both coaches at halftime. First, John Gruden. He said, we've got to start mixing it up a little bit more offensively. He says the Niners are starting to blitz us. We've got to react a little bit better to that. Defensively, he says, we just got to keep playing. He says the 49ers have demonstrated their ability to come back, and they have to be ready for that. He said it doesn't seem to bother them the least. Steve Mariucci explained his action or reaction at the end of that quarter. He said he didn't want to take any chances. He just wanted to get off the field. He feels like that everybody has got to regroup and they want to come out, and he says we have got to get something started immediately. Back to you.
All right, well, I'm sitting with 2 guys who've played in Super Bowls. What message does that send when you say, hey, we just want to get off the field?
Well, I'll tell you what, if it's a close game, I understand that, hey, we're struggling, but it's close. Let's go in at halftime, regroup, and come back out. But when you're down like they're down, it sends a message to your team that you lack confidence in them. I disagree with the move. I think you had to try to do something to score some points for the half.
I just think there's absolutely no justification for it whatsoever, and certainly Steve Mariucci's job is somewhat on the line with the San Francisco 49ers organization. A lot of speculation as to whether or not his contract is going to be renewed and he'll be given the proper raise. And, well, you just don't want to add any fuel to the fire for Steve Mariucci, but in my mind, that's just a huge sort of give-up mistake.
This is Smith from just inside the 10. Paul will get it up to the 35-yard line. Well, the guys in the booth didn't like it. Neither did the guys on the field, especially Terrell Owens. That's his reaction to his own sideline as the 49ers just let the clock expire.
Well, one thing about it is, as players, you never like it, and the coach has to make that decision. I do believe it was the wrong decision there, but you watch, San Francisco now has got to try to get points against a team that was only on the field for just over 10 minutes. So they're a well-rested group, the Tampa Bay defense, that is.
First play from scrimmage, start of the second half. Garcia off the hands of Owens, into the air, and picked off. Dwight Smith.
This game has just been an unmitigated disaster for the San Francisco 49ers. They just can't do anything right. They finally come out, get the ball in the hands of their superstar. Terrell Owens going to make a nice adjustment, working on Brooks. Ball's thrown in there. He's going to one-hand it and somehow pop the thing straight up in the air for an interception.
You saw Jeff Garcia after that play talking to the referee, hoping to get pass interference on Derek Brooks, but I didn't feel that it was, and Terrell Owens unable to bring the ball in. Ball pops up. Dwight Smith right there to make the interception.
Dwight Smith, who literally came on the field just before the snap, ran on the field late, ends up with the ball in his lap. Third turnover for the 49ers. Great field position to start. The toss. This is Stecker. Aaron Stecker gets his first carry of the day, and he's knocked out at the 30. Gain of 7.
Well, we've been seeing Keyshawn Johnson on the crack block. This time they bring Michael Pittman, split him out wide, bring him down the line of scrimmage. You're going to see him come into the screen. makes a block, but Aaron Stecker, a guy who has not gotten a lot of opportunities to run the football, but when he has had his opportunities, he's really done a nice job. He usually carries the ball 2 to 3 times a game, but usually makes the most of those chances.
Averaged over 6 yards a carry during the regular season. It's 3rd and 3. Ball stop. 2nd and 3, a gain of 1. It'll be 3rd down and short for the Buccaneers.
Well, at some point in the ball game, the 49ers defense is just going to have to rise up despite all the adversity that their offense has put them under and make a play. And this is the time right now. If you can hold them here on 3rd down, hopefully you can just send the field goal team out there. Maybe they miss it and you still have a chance.
Yeah, I was going to say we can't put it all on the 49ers offense because these 49ers defensive team, they've been unable to stop Tampa Bay from scoring touchdowns.
Unable to stop them for the most part on 3rd down. Wow, just wide open. Keyshawn Johnson. 9 of 11 on 3rd down conversions today are the Buccaneers. And you talk about a complete collapse in the secondary. Keyshawn Johnson left all alone.
Well, after every play, you see the defensive backs for this 49er team talking to each other. Mike Rumpf comes inside. He thinks it's some kind of run. It opens up the area. Zach Bronson has to be there. When you have defensive backs and defensive players talking to one another following plays, they're just frustrated. They're frustrated, and they don't know exactly what they're being asked to do.
Showing blitz. Michael Pittman. Run hard all year. Gets it down to the 14. A gain of 4. Looked like Bronson's looking for illegal procedures. There was a lot of movement on the line prior to the snap.
Well, too many times when you're struggling, you start looking for help from the officials rather than creating your own opportunities. And right now, the 49ers need to quit worrying about what calls they are or they're not getting and start making plays themselves.
That goes for Terrell Owens on the play over the middle, believing he was held by Brooks. The ball off his hands. 3rd turnover of the day, and the Buccaneers, after the Smith interception, trying to turn the turnover into points. Brad Johnson stays on his feet and dives forward. Brought down by Smith, a gain of 5 on the play.
But I was going to say, Joe, that's how Brad hurt his back 2 weeks ago when he was going in head first. This time, however, it looks like he got a hit to the head, cut eye, as you see right there. I don't know if the helmet came down on it or if he got a finger.
It was brought down just shy of a 1st down. It's 3rd and 1, and Rob Johnson, who John Gruden really brought in here to be the starter when he joined the Tampa Bay organization, will get ready to come in.
Yeah, Brad Johnson, I was saying, he got hurt last time when he hurt his back going in head first. You got to try to slide there and protect yourself. If you slide, you don't take. Well, there's a hand right there into the face mask, which cuts him, and now it's just a question of how severe it is.
The hand of Derek Smith to the face of Brad Johnson. He'll have to come out here at least for the short term. Rob Johnson getting ready on the sideline.
Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
The NFC Divisional playoffs on Fox are brought to you by Cadillac. Bold vehicles defying convention.
Brad Johnson, who was handing out pre-autographed cards on his way into the stadium prior to this game, saying he doesn't get the respect he deserves for the year that he has had, waving to the crowd as he exits. Rob Johnson takes over, and Allstock goes up and over the pile and is knocked down right at the 1st down marker. We'll see where they spot it. And it's a 1st down for Tampa Bay as you look at Brad Johnson and his exit off the field.
He's getting a little of the respect that he thinks he deserves, and I think he deserves. But when you watch what Tampa Bay has done this season, when he's gone out of the game, when either Rob Johnson or Sean King has played, and I think there's been 3 games, they've only scored 1 offensive touchdown without Brad Johnson in there. And in many respects, Troy, I thought he should have been an MVP candidate for what he's done with his team.
Well, they've never scored a touchdown in the 2 starts that Rob Johnson had this year.
1st and goal. Allstock Brought down on the play right at the line of scrimmage, and you would figure if you're the 49ers defense, you're going to see a lot of ball stopped down here by the goal line. You're not going to see the ball very often in the hands of Rob Johnson dropping back, because to be very honest about it, nobody takes sacks in the NFL like Rob Johnson takes sacks.
Well, that's a concern. Right now, the one thing you have going for you is that you're on the 8-yard line. If you do take a sack, you don't knock yourself out of field goal position. But I can tell you this, John Gruden is very aware of what happened last week, and he is not going to get conservative down here. He's going to call the game the way he would if Brad was playing.
Second and goal. That's Pittman. Brought down right at the line of scrimmage again, and now they may be forced into a spot. They want to be courageous and daring to drop back and try to throw the ball into the end zone.
Well, remember last week we were in this situation with the New York Giants against the 49ers, and they were driving down for what looked like a meaningless drive to sort of blow the game open. Jeremy Shockey dropped that pass in the end zone, and then all of a sudden the entire thing began to turn around, and they just couldn't stop the flood.
4 for 4 in the red zone. See what happens on this 5th possession. Johnson to roll. Rob Johnson brought down shy of the end zone. It'll be 4th down.
And actually an outstanding call by John Gruden. We talk about the fact that Rob Johnson gets sacked an awful lot. So what you do is you do it off of play action, allow him to sprint out on the corner. It opens things up for him, gets him outside. He can then make a decision whether he throws it or whether he runs it. He takes the safe approach here, nothing there, gets it down on the 1, and now they're going to try for the field goal.
And let me tell you why this is the right decision. Make the field goal, you're up 25. Even if you make all the 2-point conversions, it's still a 4-touchdown game or 4-score game in order to catch them.
Basically an extra point. And Gramatica has no problems with it. The crowd started to groan when the field goal unit came on the field until Warren Sapp said, people, quiet down. It's 31-6 Tampa Bay.
Today, HP Technology.
San Francisco defense a chance to catch their breath. They have been rolled over today by this Tampa Bay offense, 31-6. 8.5 to play in this 3rd quarter. Gramatica almost whiffed on that, a little short kick, and it's Smith. Good field position for the 49ers as Smith gets it up across the 40. Yoder on the stop, and the San Francisco offense trying to get something going. I'm more of a baseball guy, but that's not good after a 6-for-7 start.
No, it's not good, and it's not surprising. I mean, that's what this defense can do to a quarterback, and he's got a tough task ahead of him right now.
It's too awfully chummy on the sideline, Keyshawn and John Gruden. Now a low snap, and Garcia's in trouble and will take a sack. Darby ends up with the credit.
I mean, really, what else can go wrong for the San Francisco 49ers? I know that was an emotional ball game for them last week and trying to get it pieced back together, but they can't even get a snap executed in this ball game. They just got to have something break their way soon because everything's going wrong.
2nd down and 18 off his back foot. Pass flutters out, and it's complete to Ty Streets. Let's go down to the field and Pam Oliver.
All right, Joe, Bucs quarterback Brad Johnson back in the locker room still as we speak. Got cut on the forehead. He suffered a laceration. He's getting stitched up, and he is expected to return. Where Terry Pendleton at this time, Joe? Wondering. Back to you.
I would fully expect Brad Johnson back out on the field. He hasn't got to enjoy too many playoff victories. He's going to want to enjoy the end of this one.
That's why the crowd's reacting as we speak. 3rd down and 10. Big pressure. Garcia fires, and it's incomplete. And Garcia in the pocket with those feet moving all over the place. He is no doubt, and with good reason, flustered by this Tampa Bay defense.
Well, and that's what happens, Joe, when you're playing against a defense that is this quick and can put so much pressure on a quarterback. Yes, Jeff Garcia is accustomed to moving around. He does it as well as anybody in the league. But now his timing is off. He realizes that he does not have the time in the pocket, regardless of whether or not he moves, to get rid of the football. And so he's throwing it much earlier than what he would like. And guys down the field are not prepared.
The floor. Beautiful punt. Carl Williams waiting for it. Goes over his head, and Sutherland taps it. Penalty flag comes down at the end of the punt. Jerry Austin will give us the call on this penalty flag and the punt.
Have a push in the back, and number 86 of the kicking team. That is not a foul. That is not a foul. Kick goes out of bounds. Be first down. Tampa at that spot.
May not be a foul, but I'll say one thing. That's just rude. Mills Lane says that Brad Johnson's okay to come back. This crowd loves it. Big day in Tampa, Florida.
Playoffs on Fox are brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37. By Circuit City, we're with you. By Microsoft, providing software for the agile business. And by Saturn, makers of the View redesigned L Series and the all-new Ion.
Back into the action is Brad Johnson. And this Tampa Bay offense, which has been on a roll. Most points they've ever scored in a playoff game, 31 points. And it's Austin. Just lowers his head, still pushing the pile. Brought down at the 8. Well, you name the person, and he has been involved in this offensive explosion for the Buccaneers. Jaravicius, Allstott, there's Dudley, even Warsap. And Brad Johnson getting the respect that he has craved for the kind of season that he's had with the offensive day. An early interception, but after that, he has been fantastic. Second down and 6. Pittman. Across the 10, gain of 2.
All right, here we go. This is the play for the 49ers. They have to take advantage of this field position opportunity. Try and get their offense back on the field somewhere around the 50-yard line and get themselves quickly back in the game. It was about, what, the final 19 minutes or so of the ball game last week. They exploded for all those points, and it started when their defense started making plays and giving the offense some opportunities.
That's been part of the problem for the 49ers defense. They've given up 77% already today on third downs.
Johnson flips, and Allstott can't make the catch. Derek Smith was there for the stop, even had Allstott come down with the ball. The play was short of first down yardage, and it's a rare 3 and out for the Tampa Bay Bucs offense.
That's amazing for Brad Johnson to see a guy that, if you put it to a vote at the beginning of the season of the Tampa Bay fans, I'm not sure that Brad Johnson would have finished in the top 2. Sean King and Rob Johnson may have finished 1-2 in their favorite quarterbacks around here, but it's been Brad Johnson this year that's been able to get it done.
You wonder if you put it to a vote to John Gruden, where Brad Johnson would have come in. Beautiful punt by Tupa. Sutherland from inside the 40. Penalty flag. This will be against the 49ers as Sutherland is collared and brought down at the 31, but there was a push in the back.
Just unbelievable. The rookie Mike Rump is in position there. He doesn't have to do it. He's going to push his man. One final little push at the last second. Oh my gosh, what else can they do wrong today? Just absolutely no problem at all here.
Number 24.
He's going to push him right past the punt return. You've got to give your guy a chance to make a play, and you just can't give those sort of plays up.
31-6. And the 49ers back on offense. Came alive. So did their defense, which gets overlooked for the job they did down the stretch against the Giants a week ago. 25 points over the last 19.5 minutes. 4 scores on their last 4 drives, down 31-6. Garcia brought down as he let it go, incomplete, and there's Darby again.
Pressure applied number 91, Patrick Darby.
Well, it all starts at 1, a 2-hour pregame show next week. The NFC Championship game at the Vet. Final game there. And it will be either San Francisco or Tampa Bay taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. 10 a.m. Pacific. Under 5.5 to go. 2nd down and 10. And for a changeup, it's Garrison Hurst. Gets it out to the 33, a gain of 5.
Well, and the reason they got to go to a changeup is because Jeff Garcia is just not getting any time back there to throw the football. You remember back to last week, and the offensive line for the 49ers did a tremendous job against the Giants' defensive front, but today it's been an entirely different story. So now, to make it a 3rd and manageable distance, you got to run the ball on 2nd down, which obviously takes time off the clock.
Only 5 yards this quarter for the 49ers. Garcia fires for a 1st down. That's Stokes.
Nice job on the blitz pickup that time by the 49ers, and now they're back to that no-huddle offense. Going to have to get it cranking. The other thing you've got to do at this point, you've got a superstar player on the field in Terrell Owens that hasn't been very involved here lately.
Flags before the snap.
Prior to the snap, false start, 77, 5 yards, still 1st down.
And that's the other thing that happens, Joe, when you talk about the comeback that they had last week. Remember, it was at home. So now they're on the road. The crowd's getting loud. You see there Matt Willig, number 77, the left tackle. That's the toughest position when you're playing in a loud stadium and trying to come off the ball when you've got Simeon Rice lined over the top of you.
And did you see him looking down inside at the ball? That's what makes it so tough.
Drop play to Garrison Hurst. Nice play on 1st down as Hurst gets it up to the 48.
Here's the play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were concerned about. On the outside, Matt Willig's going to simply push Simeon Rice by and then go down to the next level on the draw play. It's been a very effective play for the 49ers all season long.
2nd down and 2. Over the middle, 1st down catch. That's Hurst.
And we saw that last play, Chris, and you're talking about Matt Willig running Simeon Rice up high. Monty Kiffin told us on Saturday that if that happened, if the tackle was able to just push the defensive end up the field, he would get an earful on the sidelines. Right now, they're in a no-huddle. He can't even get Simeon off the field to yell at him.
Garcia steps up and throws. That's another concern of the Tampa Bay defense. It's not so much the legs of Garcia, but moving up to the line of scrimmage, still looking to throw, and this time completing it to Streets.
Joe, I think that's when he's most dangerous. Not so much when he's moving laterally, but when he forces the line of scrimmage, it makes those linebackers have to react to him.
On 1st down, it's Hurst. Garrison picked up 3.
You know, I think one of the things you have to address is why haven't we seen this no-huddle offense earlier in the ball game? They've been so effective against it. Steve Mariucci said he thought it was tougher to do on the road. It limited his offense, the number of plays, the number of motions, formations that he could use.
On 2nd down, Garcia has it knocked away. And it's recovered by the Buccaneers. Simeon Rice. And who else would end up with it? Derek Brooks.
Yeah, that's the 1-2 punch right there. Simeon Rice, who's able to come around the left tackle Jeff Garcia doesn't see it coming. He's going to use a speed move on Matt Willicks. Just absolutely no contest. Bats the ball down. Garcia doesn't see it. Derek Brooks in position to make the play, and that was one of the things that Mariucci was concerned about in going with the no huddle. Obviously they have to here, but earlier in the game they had the interception off of it. Here they have the fumble. Tampa Bay gets 2 turnovers.
You know, and Matt Willicks looks awful on that play, but as a quarterback, when you decide against a speed rush on your backside to move out of the pocket to the right, you just don't give that tackle much of an opportunity. You have to put some of that on Garcia.
2:20 left, third quarter. They fake a reverse and hand to Allstott. A lot of room to run. Allstott into San Francisco territory, brought down by Parrish.
And Troy, we see again, when you fake the reverse, it can hold the defensive end and put your team in a position. Here's the reverse. He has to play this out here. Now look at all the running room up inside.
Yeah, it's Julian Peterson who plays up for the reverse, but if you're going to have the end, that time Peterson, who also plays linebacker, if he's going to play the reverse, you've got to have somebody scraping off the end in order to take the dive back and just open up a big crevice there for the running lane.
From the 45-yard line, a toss to Pittman. And Michael goes nowhere.
I bet you Terrell Owens is pretty excited about everything that's been happening lately.
Yeah. That's about it. Hand on the chin and just wondering if they can survive, get to the end of the game and get something going. They just had a drive working. And then it's Simeon Rice, who forced 6 fumbles during the regular season, putting a halt to that momentum. Total points scored in playoff history for the Bucs. Keyshawn Johnson to the 30. First down, Buccaneers.
I tell you what I like right now is the job that John Gruden is doing calling plays. We talked about it. He knows that you've got to be able to throw the football to have success in these playoff games. Right now, late in the third quarter, big lead, still throwing the football. Keyshawn Johnson giving him a big target.
And Tony Parrish there, obviously in a position he's not accustomed to playing. And anytime you have a guy and you see a flat coming from the tight end position, you know somebody's coming in there behind. But Tony Parrish, he doesn't know that. He's not used to playing there. All these injuries have killed the 49ers.
And I would imagine along some lines, Gruden is calling plays today, not so much to beat the 49ers, but with thoughts of Philadelphia next week.
You can bet on that.
It's the end of the third quarter, 31-6 Buccaneers. Back after this from your local Fox station. At one point early in his career was a coach's aide back in 1990 with the 49ers. Was a fellow coach with Mariucci. 92 to 94 with the Green Bay Packers. This is Pittman. And on first down, a gain of 2. If you go back to this Partridge family photo and look at the Packers coaching staff, go ahead and circle them, Troy. There's Mariucci, there's Andy Reid, and there's John Gruden all the way up at the top.
Dick Duran down here. How about that staff?
The 1992 Green Bay Packers coaching staff, and it'll be a matchup of another couple of former assistants there, with Andy Reid waiting for the winner of this game. Second down and 8. All stop. Got 2.
Now what John Gruden tells us, he said, you know, Mariucci had the big desk because he got to work with the big superstar Brett Favre. He said they gave me the little desk and I got to drive Mike Holmgren around town. So they all had their specific duties on that staff.
For that in San Francisco, he said, I got the water boy's water. That's how low he was on the totem pole for the 49ers.
Not anymore.
Really heavily influenced by one of the greatest offensive line coaches at the time, the late Bob McKittrick. And it was the offensive line early in the season that was really holding this offense back for the Buccaneers. That has changed over the past month, he says, as Brad Johnson gets pasted. 4th down.
Brad Johnson taking a hit there, and I would guess that after this series here, if I'm John Gruden, I put Brad Johnson on the bench, bring Rob Johnson back, and let Brad get some rest going into next week. But you're right, Joe, talking about John Gruden. It's amazing to me how quickly he moved up the coaching ranks from where he was when he started with San Francisco, then to be named offensive coordinator with Philadelphia, and then just a few short years later than that going on to Oakland as the head coach. Says a lot for him.
45-yard try. Gramatica missed it. Martin Gramatica gets one of the few groans from this crowd here at Raymond James Stadium. A little pushy off to the right, and the 49ers get the ball back.
On Fox are brought to you by the all-new Accord from Honda. It's more Accord than ever. By Visa, it's everywhere NFL fans want to be. By Subway, fresh-made sandwiches on fresh baked bread. Subway, eat fresh. And by Microsoft, providing software for the agile business.
Bill Walsh on your right, Terry Donahue, the GM of this 49er team, on the left, and there are big decisions to come from this 49er franchise, possibly at the end of this game. Big pressure by Al Singleton. The ball comes out. Garcia's pleading that his arm was going forward, as the 49ers end up with a football anyway, and for the moment, they are ruling that a fumble.
You know, one of the problems when you get in that spread offense, you end up opening up some lanes. They can always, that ball just slipped out of there.
I'll tell you what, that was close. That was close as to whether or not his hand's going forward. When the ball comes out, he brings it back. I'm not so sure it was.
That's a fumble.
It was a fumble, but it was recovered by Willig. And so the 49ers have it now. Time is called. And they call that, the rule or the words for that, empty hand. And I think that was clearly a fumble.
Well, and I think what Mariucci's saying is that it wasn't. It was an incomplete pass, and so they would regain the 7 or so yards that they lost.
So interesting that the challenge would come from the 49ers side. Because the Buccaneers would have nothing to
rule on the field of a fumble.
Obviously, Tampa Bay wouldn't, because they'd have nothing to gain. That's a fumble. That is not the tuck rule. That's an empty hand, and therefore no tuck rule applies. I think the call will stand.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joe. The ball was out before Jeff Garcia began with the forward motion of the arm, and that clearly is a fumble. It's a good job by those officials getting it right the first time.
Great work by our camera crew, which the three of us and Pam Oliver down on the field have come to expect. Singleton with the pressure, and all Terrell Owens can do is just take his helmet off and chat with Warren Sapp in what is right now a blowout of 31-6. Tampa Bay on top.
It's going to be a long week this week for Steve Mariucci as well, because the speculation is going to grow and about his job and whether or not he's going to be back. He has 1 year left on his contract, and there is a bit of a split philosophically, I think, within this organization.
After reviewing the play, as the quarterback's bringing his hand up to take his arm forward, the ball comes loose. It is a fumble as ruled on the field. San Francisco was charged a timeout, their first one.
So again, remember, the 49ers fell on the ball, but they challenged the call. They're charged a timeout because of it, and it is 2nd and 17 as opposed to 2nd and 10, and a timeout here wasted over 7 yards probably isn't worth it. And more whistles and conversations and huddles.
Since San Francisco was charged a timeout, the clock will start on the snap.
Been a tough week for officials this week.
And And it really continued through last night with all that was made by Bill Cowher and the Steelers on those field goal tries at the end of the game. Game won by Tennessee. That's Garrison Hurst. He gets it up back near the original line of scrimmage, a couple of yards shy. And it'll be 3rd and long for the 49ers.
And just to get back to my point and finish it up a little bit, Steve Mariucci is a guy that believes in balance. He wants to run the football as well as throw the football. Within the organization, you have Bill Walsh, and he's the genius, and he has all the Super Bowl trophies, and he's been such an incredible coach, and he's much more of a pass-first kind of a guy. And then you end up with that sort of debate going on. I don't think anybody's disputing that Mariucci is a great coach within the organization, just as his philosophy match.
On 3rd and 12, that's Beasley, and that's a nothing play on 3rd and 12, a gain of 2. And it'll be 4th down. On top of that, guys, I think you can sense when you talk to Jeff Garcia, not only is there a difference in philosophy between the front office and the head coach Mariucci, but even the quarterback Garcia and Mariucci and what they try to do. Garcia says we try to be too balanced. He'd rather pass more.
But I also think it goes beyond philosophy. I think there's a decision that these two have got to make as to whether or not they feel that Mariucci is the quarterback that can take them all the way.
Garcia. LaFleur to Carl Williams. A decent return by Williams up to 39. So the Bucs get it back. And we'll see if Brad Johnson checks in again. Some of our best are on the scene for today's game. It's playoffs. So Chucky's out.
The Chucky can.
There he is. He is a closet funny guy. I mean, you said it to some of their players. If you were in meetings with that guy, it'd be tough not to laugh at.
The players told me they do laugh.
His image is really a guy who's just intense all the time, and he gets to work at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's there all day, and he doesn't get a chance to spend a lot of time with his 3 boys, this, that, and the other. But he is truly a funny guy when you get a chance to sit down with him. He's a dynamic personality, and while everybody said, well, he's come in to really rejuvenate this offense, and it's taken some time, and they did not have a good year offensively, coming in 24th in the NFL rank-wise. He's also given life to this defense, and guys like Warren Sapp bought into what he was selling early, and he has given that group a little extra jolt of energy, or as Warren Sapp says, some extra bounce. A 2nd down carry by Pittman, and a gain of 3.
I think it's interesting when Sapp said the first time he sat down with John Gruden, Gruden looked across at him and gave him that little Chucky face, and Warren said, don't be playing that game with me now. Don't be doing that whole intimidation, that whole thing with me. That's not going to work. You want to talk, let's go ahead and talk. And I think they kind of laughed together and had a great relationship ever since.
Well, I think what speaks volumes for him is that when he was at Oakland, the players, Jerry Rice, Rich Gannon, those guys, they loved John Gruden, hated to see him leave, and he already has endeared himself to this club. Says a lot for the way he's able to motivate players and get them to buy into his system.
Big toss, and Johnson airs it out. Incomplete. Rashad Holman on the coverage of Keyshawn Johnson.
And I think what was significant about that was the fact that Tony Dungy was so loved among these players. I mean, it really was a huge deal when they fired Tony Dungy here. And it didn't matter who the next guy coming in. It was going to be a tough sell. But John Gruden, it just didn't take long at all. And I think that right away people began to think, hey, maybe we can win a championship with this guy. He just brings that extra edge to this football team.
Sutherland gets it on the run. And a nice return out across the 40. What kind of a day has it been for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team? Siskel, Ebert, Roper, Gruden, thumbs up, 31-6.
Brought to you by Compact Presario from HP.
As we watch the 49er offense try to mount some sort of pride-saving offensive drive, we'll talk more about the Mariucci situation. Starting with it from their own 41, Garcia to Hurst. Picked it off his shoulder pad and dives across the 45, knocked down at the 47. I think that weekend in February when Mariucci toyed with the idea of coming to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for really the title of head coach and general manager, as you watch Garrison Hurst on a draw play lose yardage back to the 45. The Glazers met in Beverly Hills with Mariucci. He kind of waffled on the decision, then they went immediately to John Gruden. I think it surprised the San Francisco front office that Gruden wanted to leave so badly. That wasn't the only team that he talked to, but I think it surprised Mariucci that the 49ers were willing to let him walk away.
Well, they wanted the compensation. They wanted that whole package that the Buccaneers were throwing out there.
3rd down and 6. Garcia lets it fly incomplete, and from that moment on, if Mariucci is going to ask for a boatload of money and try to break the bank, common sense would tell you that that's not going to happen.
Well, I think, you know, like Chris mentioned, philosophical differences, and if you're winning, I don't know that philosophical differences matter. I really think it comes down to whether or not Bill Walsh and Terry Donahue believe that Mariucci can take this football team and win a Super Bowl, and if they don't feel that way, then I don't think he'll be back. Is that fair? There's nothing about the coaching profession that's fair.
4th down and 6. That's Johnson making a catch shy of a 1st down, it appears, and now a rather generous spot.
Really generous spot.
They're giving the spot up very close to 1st down yardage. Brooks made the tackle, and again, that was a 4th down play. And we'll see if where they set the ball down, and you can see Brooks is unhappy, and I don't blame him watching that play unfold.
You know what? I think he's saying we need to challenge that spot. I think he saw exactly what we saw, that there's no way that that ball should have ended up there. So now what they'll do is they'll let them take the measurement. If it's short, they get the ball back. If not, then they may well challenge it. There's just no way. That's not even close. That's on the other side of the 50.
Doesn't matter. The spot's short. Well, they say this defense is relentless and up 31-6. They did not want to give up a 1st down on a 4th down play, and they don't. The Tampa Bay offense back on the field. Tonight on Fox, it's a brand new killer night of comedy. First, Lisa Simpson is framed. Can Homer help her run from the law? Then, who are you going to call to hunt down a killer? How about Hank Hill? And Malcolm goes on a family vacation. That's to die for. An all-new killer night of comedy starts at 7 Eastern, 6 Central tonight on Fox. Pittman tries the right side, and as we look at what's happened today and the scoring for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on offense, you have to ask the question, and Troy did earlier, why Brad Johnson is still in the game at this point. Leading up to this point, it's been a huge offensive day, the likes of which this franchise has never seen in playoff history. Allstott a couple times into the end zone. Juravicius, Allstott again. And this has been a dominant day for the Tampa Bay team.
Well, if you're going to win championships in this league, you better have some offense and score some points, and they're going to need points next week against Philadelphia.
2nd down and 8. Stecker. And really, that can be the only reason why Johnson's in. He hasn't played in 4 weeks. He's trying to maintain this rhythm throughout the game, but there's an awful big risk.
Well, I think he's in, and they've been running the ball, but if they do anything, drop back and pass, I just think it's an absolute mistake having Brad Johnson in the game. He's been banged up, and there's no point in him being out there and even risking anything happening to him at this time in the game.
Seven minutes left in this one. 31-6 Tampa Bay. 3rd down and 7. Quick set and throw, and the pass is incomplete. Just to finish the situation with Mariucci, you have to believe, guys, that the future of Mariucci being uncertain has led to other situations, like where's Denny Green going to end up? Maybe he's waiting around in case the 49ers do make a change and realize Mariucci signed through next year, and B, Jacksonville, the Jaguars head coaching position, maybe they're dragging their feet to see if Mariucci is available.
Well, let me tell you something. If Steve Mariucci were to become available, there'd be a lot of teams out there, both college and pro, but the pro side be willing to give up compensation. So that's exactly why the 49ers may have some interest there. I mean, that to me, that he belongs in San Francisco, but I still put it about 50-50 that he ends up there next year.
That punt will end up in the end zone, and the 49ers will get it at their own 20. So we watch the 49er offense come on the field, and I guess a lot of the question marks around this Tampa Bay offense, at least for the moment, have been put to rest. And Brad Johnson, the guy in the center of it all, bad quarterback rating, second worst among active players in the playoffs, comes in and really, outside of that early interception, has been outstanding.
Played great, and I think that's why he's been as emotional as what he has today. He's wanted to come in and play well, plus the fact that he has said that this is the best team he's entered the playoffs with. And so with that, there are no excuses. He recognizes that, and he wants to make the most of it. He knows ultimately he's going to be judged on championships.
Starting with it from their own 20, Garcia fires, and it's caught by Stokes. And Chris, if we can look ahead, and realizing that we probably could have been guilty of looking ahead last week about midway through the third quarter, and we would have been dead wrong. But if you look ahead and you look at a possible matchup of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going back to Philadelphia.
Right.
They've lost their last 2 playoff games prior to today in Philly without scoring a touchdown. What do you think of the matchup coming up?
Well, it's personal for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's no question about it. They got embarrassed up there the last couple of years, and they really want a part of the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Eagles had great success running the football in that game. Donovan McNabb hit some big passes. And I think for McNabb, the fact that he was able to play in that ball game last night, not get hurt, get a tune-up before he has to face this defense, is just so important.
This is Terrell Owens, penalty flag on the play, as Willig and Simeon Rice are still wrestling with each other after the play. And Jerry Austin, a quick call.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, 96 defense, 15 yards, first down.
So they get Wims away from that little battle between Willig and Rice.
You know, I do know this, that coming into this game, a lot of people were saying this was why John Gruden was brought here. This game was the reason that they brought John Gruden in, and I don't know that that's necessarily true. I think they brought John Gruden in to win a Super Bowl as the reason they bring every head coach in, but this was a great start here today. Winning today here in this game against a good football team, going into the championship game. He's done a heck of a job here in Tampa in his first season.
Yeah, we've talked so much, too, about Steve Mariucci and his job position. But the injury to Ahmed Plummer today, you couldn't have had a worse injury for this football team. Already decimated in the secondary, and then having that injury on top of it.
Garcia hits Beasley as fullback. And Beasley lowers his shoulder. Simeon Rice downfield. And it is a first down for the 49ers.
Well, I'll tell you what, this tells you right here how important this game is to this Tampa defense. Watch Brian Kelly, 25, coming in right here on the blitz, and he's out there playing corner, and they're calling corner blitzes, and this is a defense that takes a great deal of pride, and they don't want the 49ers moving the football down the field, even at this point in the game.
5 minutes left in the game. Garcia somehow avoids a sack and throws. The pass is caught by Streets. That's up at the 25-yard line, and the defense for the Buccaneers are saying this ball skipped in.
Well, Houdini did it again. Jeff Garcia able to escape and get the ball down. It looked like maybe it did one hop, but difficult to tell.
Tampa challenged a ruling on the field of a completed pass.
Warren Sapp will let you know what he thinks about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, lowering men, please call home. Lowering men,
could have A, skipped in there, and B, when Streets cradled it, it looked like it started to roll around.
Well, it just so happens Eric Heitman, the left guard for the Niners, was right in the line. Right there, it looks like you can see the turf come up off the ground. That ball hit the ground.
You can see from that replay that the grass was involved with that catch. So we'll see if Gerald Austin sees enough on that replay to overturn the ruling on the field, but it certainly looked like that was an incomplete pass from up here. And Warren Sapp is still talking. See the turf, the grass takes a little divot out of it as Streets gets his hands around the football.
And if you're a 49er fan, there was no doubt in your mind any close call at all was going to go against the 49ers. They've had everything go wrong for them in the ball game. You gotta let this guy go underneath the hood one time.
I don't know that his head would fit in the head under the hood.
That's okay, because he's really looking out of the mouth. I don't know if you've seen some of those characters, but they're never really, Troy, looking out of the eye.
Are they not?
No.
I've never put one of those on.
I've looked at.
I mean, when were you the mascot?
I was, well, I mean, you guys played in Super Bowls, and I had my thing, okay? I mean, look at it. There's no way that this guy or girl tall enough to look out of the eye.
All right, well, then let me rephrase that. I'm not sure his chin would fit under the hood, okay?
Okay, that works. Here's another look.
What else you want to talk about?
I don't know. Enhanced TV.
I want to talk about the show next Saturday night. Our guys, our pregame show guys, are going to put on a 2-hour or a 1-hour entertainment extravaganza. Does that mean that, like, Jimmy Johnson dances and how he sings? And
absolutely.
What are they going to do?
Me and my shadow.
I've seen Jimmy do a
pass
little
is
dance.
coming into the receiver. Just as he grasps it, it touches the ground. That makes it incomplete. 2nd and 10 at the Tampa Bay 40. Tampa will not be charged with a timeout.
I've been at a few Super Bowl parties with Jimmy. I've seen him dancing. Fred Astaire, he is not.
I don't think I even want to think about that.
Who else is going to be there? Ja Rule is going to be there. Ashanti is going to be there. Ced the Entertainer. Cedric will be there.
Now, does that mean that Jimmy Kimmel has to be in the same place in the same time as Howie Long? Because that could get a little ugly.
By the way, the place is called the Kimmel Center.
I guess he'll be there.
All right, back to work. 40-yard line, 2nd down and 10. Setting up a screen for Hurst. To the 35. That's it, a gain of 5. And that will happen Saturday night. The next Saturday that comes up on your calendar. 9 Eastern and Pacific. Only on Fox. The old Saturday night show.
Terry Bradshaw's been waiting his whole life for his own primetime show. He'll be in rare form, I'm sure.
Everybody talked about the 49ers being able to run the ball today against this undersized, quote-unquote, finesse defense. They have 1 rushing first down today.
Yeah, I wonder how much Kevin Barlow thinks this defense finesse now.
That's a word that seems to come up a lot as it's 4th and 1 during playoff time. One team calling another team finesse, and there's nothing that gets a team more upset than that word.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could say a lot worse things than that. Finesse basically means you're soft. I mean, an offensive line doesn't like being called finesse. Defense especially. You don't hear too many people call defensive football teams finesse, particularly when you're talking about the defense that led the league.
4th down and 1. Garcia's going to put it up over the middle. And that's Mr. Finesse with a first down catch inside the 30, a gain of 3. Kevin Barlow. We asked some of the defenders of the Buccaneers about that word and if that was discussed, and Rondé Barber said, yeah, it came up. It came up, and I can guarantee you that has been half of the dialogue, at least, between Warren Sapp and this 49ers offensive crew. Blitz coming on first down. The 49ers pick it up, but Garcia throws behind the tight end, Eric Johnson. You go back the last 2 playoff meetings between what should be the matchup next week. Boy, I'm gun shy after last week.
You are.
Tampa Bay, Philadelphia. The 2000 NFC wild card game. McNabb, 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, 21-3. Eagles win. Then the NFC wild card 2001. McNabb, 2 passing TDs, and the Eagles intercept Brad Johnson 4 times in a 31-9 rout. 2nd down and 10. Get an indication of just how good, how fast, how talented this Buccaneer defense is with what they have been able to do against a 3-time Pro Bowler, Jeff Garcia.
There really is just no way to practice against what you're going to see when you play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We have seen Jeff Garcia all season long just make pass rushers look silly. It's almost like he can sense when they're behind him, when they're in front, when they're coming towards him. And yet today it has just been a nightmare for Jeff Garcia. And it's not so much the protection, it's just the swarm. They never can get away from this pass rush.
It's been hit 13 times today. On 3rd down, the pass is picked off. That's Barber. Rondé Barber with his brother Tiki watching on the sideline. An exclamation point on the end of this one for the Tampa Bay defense. 80 yards. And now at the end of the play, everybody stops. They've got a personal foul.
Number 96, grab it and jerk in the face mask. 15 yards. 1st down, Tampa Bay.
They're going to call post-possession. Post-possession, as Tiki's already being interviewed. Post-possession, and it's going to be a 15-yard penalty, but Tampa Bay will get the ball. They called it on Rice.
Yeah, they run the out route with Owens, and Rondé Barber just right there, and throw that was behind him, and yeah. Very fitting they would have come to this. Derek Brooks, actually the guy who was out in front, who helped spring Rondé Barber for that touchdown, but like you said, Joe, it's coming back.
It's coming back, but the Buccaneers do get the ball. So after the interception, they called a face mask on Simeon Rice. And there it is. No doubt about that to Willig. Rondé Barber with the interception. And Tiki Barber, the outstanding running back of the Giants, with the memento.
And it was nearly Tiki against Rondé in this ball game, but for the huge comeback by the San Francisco 49ers.
Rondé scores, Tiki gets interviewed.
Great reporting. Rob Johnson, who was in the game for a brief while when Brad Johnson suffered that laceration above his right eye. A handoff, a minimal gain, and a timeout called for by San Francisco. It's a short break. Don't go anywhere. The 49ers have only 1 timeout left.
Just in case next week he has to get in the ball game, you want to give him a little confidence. You want to make him feel good. You alluded to it earlier. All the sacks this guy takes, it is an issue, and especially when you're talking about playing against the Philadelphia Eagles defense.
Another timeout called for by the 49ers, or actually the 2-minute warning. A 31-6 lead for Tampa Bay. All Bucks, and they're on the move again. Coming up on the Subway postgame show, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have a full recap of the 49ers-Bucks game. Preview the NFC Championship game next Sunday. Fox Sports Ticker will keep you updated with up-to-the-second stats. They're all in there, all made up. A lot to talk about. 2 minutes left. Toss to Stecker, penalty flag on the play. Stecker is still fighting his way. Brought down inches shy of the 45-yard line by Bryant Young.
Illegal motion. Number 32 of the offense going forward at the snap. 5 yards. Repeat 1st down.
Since I know you guys are tapped out of things to say, today's game is being produced by Richie Zients and directed by Artie Kempner. Technical producer Dave Hill, technical director Rich Basili, and the audio mixer Fred Aldis. Associate directors are Greg Scopatoni and Derek Manning. Our editorial consultant here in the booth, Steve Horn. The Los Angeles AD, Lisa Kuhn. Broadcast associates are Jacob Ullman and Jeremy Green. Pre-game show produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. There are more names. First down and 15. Allstott. Mike Allstott's had a big day, and he's still running hard. The Associate Director, Jennifer Love. The Director of Studio Operations, Jack Simmons. The Senior Producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. And the Executive Producers of Fox Sports, Ed Gorin and David Hill.
I'll tell you what, Joe, I'm just not certain why they're just not taking a knee. Why Rob Johnson's just not taking a knee. And, yeah, they're handing it off. The clock's going to run down, but boy, I would think you just worry about one of these offensive linemen getting rolled up, and just anything can happen, and it's not something that's necessary.
I guarantee you those guys are already talking about Donovan McNabb and Deuce Staley and the guys that they're going to have to face next week, because that is the team that they wanted.
It was a 20-10 loss at Philadelphia as Pittman loses the football. A fumble, and it is recovered by San Francisco. October 20th, a 20-10 loss by Tampa Bay at Philadelphia. I wasn't there. You guys did that game. You look at the series history between the two franchises. How would you stack up what you see right now from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers compared to what the Eagles saw back in October at the Vet?
Well, first of all, I would say the Buccaneers offensive line has greatly improved over that game, and that is going to be significant, because anytime you have to face Jim Johnson and the blitzes that they're going to show, this offensive line simply has to be in sync. The running game is a little bit better, and obviously, Troy, the defense is dynamic.
Yeah, and then Brad Johnson, the way that he's played over the last 6-7 ball games, and much better team than what the one Eagles saw earlier in the year.
Wide open is Cedric Wilson. Makes the catch and is forced out of bounds at the 25.
Of course, the Philadelphia Eagles aren't too bad in that ballpark either. That was a pretty dominating performance, and McNabb came up with some big throws down the field. Deuce Staley able to run the football for big numbers against this Tampa defense. Going back to what we hit on early in the ball game, of course, one of them was late in the game, a big run, but they did run the football against this defense, and if there's a theory anyway of how you can beat them, it's running it right at them.
51 seconds remain as Garcia, everybody moved except there was no snap from
All
center.
start, 77 offense, 5 yards, still first down.
Jeremy Newberry, the center, never let it go, but penalty was called on Willie.
Earlier we congratulated Andy Reid and the Philadelphia Eagles and their job of getting to the championship game. We also had to take the time to congratulate Jeff Fisher and those Tennessee Titans. Big win yesterday. Tough ball game, but now they're playing in the championship game once again.
A lot of respect between those two guys. I'm not sure it started the year that way. I'm not sure that John Gruden really believed in Brad Johnson. Not sure anybody in this town did, but he has proven himself to everyone.
Garrison Hurst over the middle. Fights his way to the 17-yard line. Well, the top 2 rated passers in the NFL will go at it later today in the Jets-Oakland game. And John Gruden certainly has his fingerprints all over the progress and the maturation, even at a late stage in his career, of the MVP of the league, and that's Rich Gannon.
Yeah, in fact, John Gruden called Rich Gannon this week to personally congratulate him, knowing how hard Rich Gannon had worked and to make himself better in the preparation that he puts in each week to be a good football player. And John Gruden has not kept in contact with many other players. In fact, I think that's the first contact that he's made with any of the players there at Oakland, but I think he took a lot of satisfaction in the year that Rich Gannon had this season.
And you know, Rich Gannon wasn't in a much different situation than was Brad Johnson when he started working with him. So when you look at the difference in what John Gruden and Brad Johnson have been able to do, it sort of a parallel path almost with what Rich Gannon was able to do in Oakland.
Two very smart quarterbacks, and with this layoff of 1 week, Brad Johnson, John Gruden put a game plan together that came out firing today against San Francisco. Blitz coming. Garcia fires, and that's Owens with a catch. It'll be 1st and goal. San Francisco with no timeouts remaining.
Yeah, and this Tampa Bay defense does not want to give up a touchdown. They shouldn't have even been in this position. Tampa Bay should have just killed the clock when they had the ball. Instead, they're running it, they fumble it, and now they give the ball to the 49ers. And doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I'll tell you, the thing that has really impressed me about this Tampa Bay defense throughout the course of the season, a little shot to the head for Jeff Garcia there, is the way that they tackle in the open field. How many times this year have we seen Terrell Owens just catch the ball in the middle of the field, make somebody miss, and take off 50 yards down the field? Every time they've had the opportunity, they're getting guys on the ground. They've done it all year.
That was Corey Ivy on that last tackle immediately of Owens. Second down and goal. Garcia pulls it back twice, flips, and it is incomplete. Dwight Smith almost had his second pick of the day. 15 seconds remain, and the only drama is, will this Tampa Bay defense keep the 49ers out of the end zone?
I don't think Al Singleton can believe he dropped this ball. Doink. And Dwight Smith's going to have a shot at it, and that's going to go through. And if they score a touchdown here, the entire Tampa Bay defense is going to be mad going into the locker room. Maybe it'll be good for them going to Philadelphia.
It's third and goal. Garcia throws it away. And it'll be fourth and goal. Dave Schwabe is our spotter in the booth. Steve Kleinfeld, our statistician. And we will await what could very well be our final play offensively from the 49ers today. Barry Strumpf on stats down in the truck. Mike Steve Pack working hard for us every week. It's fourth and goal. Back of the end zone. The Buccaneers take over. They took over from the beginning. The clock has expired, and this game belongs to the Bucs. And they flat out dominate this thing from early on.
Yeah, and what did Warren Sapp tell us when we talked to him a couple of days ago? He knew since training camp that this football team had a real bounce about them. Felt good coming into this game. Certainly played great again today.
And I don't think there's any question that the two best teams in the NFC are playing for the championship next week.
Since they had the change in the playoff format, the 1990 season, the #1 seed in the NFC has played the #2 seed in the NFC Championship 10 times in 12 seasons. That's why you fight so hard during the regular season to be the top seeds, and the top two will meet in Philly next week.
And I think this weekend has also shown what a huge advantage it is to have that bye week, to have the ability to heal up at the end of the season while the other team is slugging through a playoff game. Then the 49ers had to get on a plane, fly across the country, trying to get their emotions back up. And with all the injuries, it just didn't happen for them.
Let's go down to the field and check in with Pam Oliver.
Okay, Brad Johnson, welcome back. You look great. How did it feel out there to be back in the saddle?
I felt great. I was so excited. A lot of emotion out there today. Our whole team was. We worked all season long to get to this point. Felt great. My back felt great. Just being back in the huddle, I've missed it. And it's awesome for this town. And these players deserve so much credit. And to be where we are, and looking forward to going up to Philly next week.
As a reward, you do get to head up to the vet, that lovely place. Tell me how you think you guys can be effective and make that, not be the house of horrors it's been for you lately.
They got an awesome team. They've dominated most everybody that they played this season. They made a lot of people look bad. They got us a little bit last time, and they beat us up there. That's why they deserve the right to get the home field. But we got a great bunch of guys. We've recovered from that since then, and just looking forward to going up there. It's going to be a great matchup.
How do you feel about your chances in that ball game, if I may ask you directly?
This is what I came to Tampa Bay for, just this moment right here. So one of us will go in the Super Bowl, and hopefully it'll be us. It's going to be a great matchup.
Thanks, Brad. Back to Joe.
Thank you, Pam, and thank you to the rest of our crew, the camera operators, Pete Chalveris, Dave Geller, Andy Mitchell, Mike Tadamir, John Pidgeon, Don Cornelli, Ben Altop assisting us here in the booth. We'll come back and have our final thoughts and throw it to the postgame show on the other side of this break. Tampa Bay wins it 31-6.
Presented by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37.
And welcome back, everybody, as we continue live here on the NFL Today. And the Tampa Bay Bucs, it's official now, 31-6. advancing on to the NFC final to take on Philadelphia. We're going live to Tampa right now, and Solomon Wilcox.
Well, I'm standing by with Brad Johnson. And Brad, you hadn't played a game in 4 weeks, and you get off to a fast start. What made the difference for you guys early on?
We had the interception on the first drive, but after that, on the next 2 drives, we were 6 of 6 on third down conversions. We scored right away, scored once we got in the red zone. So guys up front, they protected me extremely well today. It was a lot of fun getting back here and playing off in this environment. It's an awesome day for us.
Once Ahmed Plummer left the game there in the first quarter, you guys seemed to just attack that secondary deep. Was that the game plan once he left the game?
Well, again, we didn't know what they were going to do to us, and especially when he went out, they went to a lot of cover 2 on us and really just kind of protect those guys. But they played great, but we made the plays, especially on third down today.
Okay, thank you. Back to you, Jim.
All right, thank you so much, Solomon. In their last 5 postseason games, the Bucs had amassed a total of 39 points. They put up 31 today. Will they be able to crank out that offense next week at Philadelphia? Boomer, you forecast that blowout win here today.
Well, I really think that when you get into the divisional round, all of a sudden the best